Oh, we're live.
Hello, and welcome back to MIRRORMOURN. We're doing our session on a different day this week, just due to a reschedule for this particular session. So, good evening to everyone, or good morning, I guess, if you're in that part of the world. I am Esper, your dungeon master, and we've got our regular 5 guys with us here. Let's run through the characters and get back into a very curious scene that we left off on. I believe.
Yes. I'm Warsor and I play Walykos, the level 5 Paragon of the Trickster.
I am Vince. I will be playing Vapor, the wild magic sorcerer.
I am Nick. I am playing the swashbuckling rogue Adriel.
And I'm Adam, and I'm playing Aygir, and he is a level 5, level 5 Artificer, and Armorer specifically.
We are currently in the Storm Tower. You're not in the main tower, but you're in, one of the adjacent structures of the Storm Tower, which is the centralmost and namesake building of House Mantivale in the Storm Tower district. The patron, or maybe I should say the patriarch of your branch of the family, Adriel, is one Duncan Mantivale, Lord of the Storm Tower, Master of Rituals, who is a prestigious man in his own way, but is also a individual that some consider to be dubious and corrupt. Just by looking at him, you can see that he partakes in his fair share of food, wealth. He's got fine jewelry. He's a corpulent fellow. He smokes a lot, so he always smells like various expensive smokes. So he seems gluttonous, and as you are discovering on this very strange occasion, he is gluttonous for more than just imbibing and partaking of food and drink and smoke and fine clothing. No, it seems that his vices run much deeper, darker, and bizarre. This all comes back to Walykos having a vision of a great white dove with light radiating off of it there in the dark of the sea after dark deeds were committed.
Not a dove, though, Esper.
I'm sorry, a white raven.
Yes, very important detail.
Yes, yeah, it's a very important detail. A white raven, snowy colored raven through and through. And, it was a couple days later at night in the rookery of Adriel's family's tower, not this big storm tower, but one of the smaller towers in the district, that you two were awoken to the birds making a ruckus. You sleep up in the rookery, you two rascals, and there atop one of the cages was a white raven that was squawking and pecking and riling up all the other birds, which white ravens are not native to Haven Isle. No, they are native to Terra Morgana, which is the larger continent where that's like the elves' homeland. If we remember, Haven Isle is just this one island out in the sea of lava that the elves, principally House Drakestone, conquered and took from the giants. They defeated the giants here. You followed the white raven, which clearly was no ordinary bird, for it had some sort of teleportation or ethereal jaunts that it would do, and it would show up and disappear at intervals. You followed it through the dark, drizzly night there in the Storm Tower district to the grounds of the Storm Tower, where you found the like a side gate of the ring wall was actually left unlocked, and entering were these women of ill repute, we might call them. They clearly were not fine, upstanding, noble ladies, but rather they appeared to be harlots, prostitutes, whores, whatever you want to call them. And there was a boy with them. You got indications and beckonings from the White Raven. You snuck inside this large Gothic antistructure, and inside there was strange, ominous music, chants, and
drumming and things.
There was clearly some kind of ritual, not of a ceremonial kind, but of a magical kind being performed.
It was a ceremony of an orgy, basically. Let's just call it what it is.
Yes,
I thought it was beautiful, like just absolutely
not
fantastic.
just orgy, but a demonic.
Correct.
Orgy.
I was
even better, Esper. Even
yes, and I'm doing my best to balance my descriptions with my awareness of the sensibilities of the viewers. So, making a quick note here.
taking a quic note, make sure
Actually, I was
monetize as
responding
mature.
I see that.
Responding there to a comment. Okay.
Yep, I see.
So there was a vestibule, a lounge, whatever we might call this word. And there were these 3 archways with curtains, and you could hear this bizarre rite taking place, and you could hear the music increasing in its intensity, and you could hear whoever it was in there starting to partake in these very lascivious and corrupt activities. There was a man.
Yeah.
There was a man, a masked man wearing a plain black hooded robe, cloak, I guess I should call it. And he had did he have the lizard face or the rooster face? He had the lizard face.
I want to say a lizard face.
Yeah. So you waited, and Adriel and Walykos debated for a bit what to do. And finally, the White Raven poked his head out as though like giving a call to a theatrical stage. And you
Raven
all said,
was
okay,
just taunting the shit out of us the whole time.
Yes. So that was your cue. That's how you took it. You actually knocked out the older elven.
We didn't want to take any chances. We figured just
you didn't know what to
him.
expect. Yeah, you didn't know what quite to expect. And you came out into this rather large banquet hall, or maybe we could say great hall, repurposed to a ritual chamber, where you saw this bizarre orgy taking place, and the harlots that had come in, and this large demon woman with some serpentine features to her, and the White Raven appeared, but more luminescent than before, with radiating lights coming off of it, and the lanterns like popped and burst into sparks, and so the whole place got plunged into darkness, save for this apex at the domed ceiling, where the White Raven is beaming out celestial light. The demon made some kind of comment and decided this was not part of the deal, and it slithered back to whatever nether realm it came from. The people in attendance, participants, they screamed, ran for cover, just scattered like so many cockroaches. And Duncan, Mantivale, Adriel, your grandfather, basically having just disrobed himself, is like awed,
transfixed by the
transfixed, rebuked, we could even call him, as he's brought to his knees, and and tears are streaming down his pudgy cheeks. His jowls, right, have tears dripping off of them, and whatever preparations he made for this foul encounter are in very stark contrast to the brilliance and the loftiness of this almost angelic white raven. And Adriel and Walykos, you are standing there. You maybe are going to say something. I think Adriel looked like he wanted to say something. The young boy was not a boy after all. It was actually Corgain Makel in guise.
Right.
You've seen him
And
shape change before.
and the last thing, the last thing was I said, I've been looking for you, as he transformed back to Corgain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we left off.
So you see Corgain Makel, your informant, your companion. In some ways, you might even call your savior from when you were back in the clutches of Baal Vonder in his clandestine lair out in the wilds. And so you see Corgain. Now, you've never seen this look of him before. So is this his true face? Is it just another guise that he can assume? It's like a strong-jawed elven man, long, coppery hair, and the clothing doesn't really work so well for him anymore. So it's like stretched out real taut because it was clothing for a smaller figure. So what was maybe a nice warm robe before, now is like this too small, tight-fitting tunic looking affair. But his voice you recognize, an unmistakable voice. And you say that to him, and he glances at you, Walykos, but he doesn't actually respond. He too looks quite transfixed at this glorious white raven, and its wings are beating, but slowly. They're not flapping about. They're just in these slow wing movements, and it hovers there.
Yeah, it's clearly not just a raven. We're dealing with a spirit or something, a powerful, being.
Are you implying ravens? Are you trying to imply ravens can't do this? I mean, I've seen some.
You've seen some shit? Wow.
I've seen some shit, man. I've seen some shit.
That's why we became bird catchers. We saw some shit. Yeah.
There's some really special birds out there, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Adriel, I guess seeing this, he'd probably pull out his blade. He won't attack his grandfather, but he will hold one of his blades to his grandfather and say, "And you called us the black sheep of the family. Quite interesting, grandfather."
And
you approach your grandfather saying these words, and you said you've drawn a blade?
Mm-hmm, yeah, probably have both, actually, yeah.
And you have drawn a blade.
I'm just transfixed by the raven. You do what you're doing, but I'm like, why am I here? What is the meaning of this?
I guess for Adriel, in terms of what he's thinking right now, exactly. Yeah, no, he's interested in the raven, but he is more interested in, my grandfather who has power in the city has a moment of weakness, and this is my chance to get some exactly, get some of that as well. So
his attention goes to you, and he says, "Adriel, what are you doing here? I don't want you to see this. Oh, what shame! What shame!" I'm a
backhand him in the face, slap him across the face.
You
disgust me.
I'm disgusted by myself.
As you should be. What do you have to say for yourself? What you're doing here? This is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels, grandfather. You don't deserve to hold the name of Mantivale.
I know that I have shamed you, and you must hate me. Believe me when I say you cannot hate me more than I hate myself now. What have I become? And he like props himself up. He's just kind of like lying there, like half propped up like this, his big belly heaving, and he's like sweating, and he's sobbing, and just as a miserable wreck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Adriel's just gonna sort of like spit out of his mouth a bit.
A couple of the harlot girls are nearby him, hiding behind like an overturned banquet sort of table, and he sends them away. Please go and never come back here. I'm sorry for everything I have done. And they like grab up clothes or tablecloth or whatever they can to cover themselves, and they skitter away. Most of the people are clearing out or have already cleared out by this point. And
one hopes he paid them in advance.
Yeah,
just some dark humor. Anyways, I feel like the Raven is my big focus, and I'm watching to see what its reaction is to Adriel intervening with his grandfather.
Yeah,
it hasn't had a reaction to Adriel yet, though. It's like the way that it's oriented, it has a direct view of Lord Mantivale.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I'd probably be like in its view as well. Yeah.
Okay. So he looks back up to the white raven. Spirit of Utsira, if you are here to deliver punishment, I accept your will. What would you have of me? Oh, lofty God, I have been humbled, and I am no more than a worm now in your presence. He tries to look at the white raven, but he keeps, turning away in shame, and he keeps trying to look back to it, and he calls it Utsira. Now, yeah,
you spell that?
Okay, so it's got a bit of an odd spelling. I'll put it here in a comment.
Yeah, I just like to take notes for later.
Yep. So there's the spelling. Yep, it's Utsira. Adriel, you might have a notion of this. You're from Haven Isle, and he referred to it as a god. This is not a god of Haven Isle, at least not that you've ever heard of.
Could I roll like a religion or?
So
like
before you roll, let's think about Adriel's character, and you can create here because there's blank spots that we can fill in your background. Do you see Adriel having grown up in a traditionally religious household with your mother and the family and such?
That's a good question. The way
you would probably already know of Utsira.
No, I think the way that we've been role playing it with my mother and with my father, like they didn't seem very religious. They seemed more sort of just like kind of just doing their thing, My mom seemed to be sort of like she always liked to eavesdrop on people, which doesn't really seem like a very religious thing to do. At least in the world of D&D with like worshiping good gods and things like that. So probably not, but I was thinking that like since I do have some nobility, like I probably may have read about it somewhere because I'm sure that I've done studies, right? Like I've probably like gone to schooling or something like that. So
okay, so let's say that that your immediate family is not traditionally religious, maybe religious in a social way, and so this seemingly foreign god isn't something you already or automatically is what I meant to say. You automatically have a wealth of knowledge about, but maybe, like you said, you've studied something about it. So roll an intelligence religion, and that's going to represent potential lore that you are in possession of.
Yep. And this works. Like I have a 0+, so it'll just, I got a 2. So nope, Adriel does nothing.
Very well. Okay. So Duncan Mantivale, the Lord who has clearly been partaking of very dark vices in secret, probably for some time now. He is, he's a miserable wreck, and he's asking this God, what do you want of me? I'm your servant. Let your will be done. If you're going to just, reduce me to smoking ash, so be it, I accept. Or if you have some purpose for me, just say the word and, I'll do anything. Those moments where someone gets into a terrible crisis and they suddenly pray. They're like, I've been a horrible sinner, but please, if you just get me out of this, I will change. I'll change I'll do anything. I'll be a new person. He's at that moment.
As he's like rambling, I'm gonna like slap him in the face again just to sort of like shut him up. And then I'm gonna grab him by like the cuff of his like. I don't. He's probably not wearing anything actually. I guess I grab him by like his fat. I guess kind of. I don't know how to do that. I'm basically like pulling him. I'm going to
quickly interrupt you because something is interrupting you. As you slap him again and you're about to seize him, you really feel these radiant beams upon you, and they are they're restraining you. Do you want to fight against that?
Oh yeah. No, Adriel, like he does not. Yeah, no, like if it's restrained, he's gonna be like, oh, he's gonna like go back to like
take 20d8 radiant damage.
Yeah, exactly. This is when Adriel dies.
Okay,
it's like stupid God, you can't stop me.
Yeah, and thus they see the consequences of growing up without understanding religion. All right, so
it's just
go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save. All right, I'm not very good at this. Come on.
Well,
19. Yes.
You fail.
I might. I might. 19 might not be good enough. It's a natural 19 too because I got +0.
That is pretty good, but it is
so
not
you're taking half
quite
damage, but
good
it's
enough.
still going to be the 20d8.
Yeah.
So you know that you're dealing with something that's high level.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's a god.
I wasn't expecting to succeed. So.
You muster about all the willpower that you have in you, and it's still not quite enough. And Walykos has a view of this, and you see Adriel paralyzed. Adriel just freezes there as though entranced or seized up by this celestial being.
Walykos.
You paralyze so much that you cannot speak.
I was going to say,
I'm like, I guess I'm like trying.
That's the last word that came out. The last word that came out.
Yeah.
I look to Corgain and I say, Corgain, what's going on?
I don't know, but it's incredible.
What is your part in this?
He takes a step back, and the raven casts a shaft of light down, which falls onto the light, descends to illuminate a circular table, a small table that has some trays and containers on it of what look to be components, magical components, reagents of esoteric and mystical varieties. And this beam is like illuminating this table. A second beam falls upon Walykos, and a voice emanates. Now, the raven is not like opening and closing its mouth to speak, but there's a voice that seems to whip about this ritual chamber that's, the shafts of divine light coming from the raven, and otherwise utter night, darkness beyond. All the lanterns have popped. I keep wanting to swivel my microphone in close so I can do the close-in voice effect, but it's not working right now. Okay.
As Loki would say, Adriel's just thinking, I'd like to take that drink now, if you don't mind. So I'll be good.
Do you Swear to me, by the depths of your mortal soul, O fallen lord, that this shall be life anew and nevermore take up the mantle of corruption that you have so tightly wrapped yourself in for all these years. Duncan Mantivale, nods adamantly. He blubbers fervently. Yes, anything. I will do anything with Sarah. You have prepared here a table of artifice to produce lascivious demonic slaves from the pits of the underworld. You must use these for a different purpose, a better purpose. There is an afflicted one among us now, cursed by a fell entity, one who does not deserve the burden that he bears. Heal him, and I will give you this chance at a new life. Duncan Mantivale looks to Walykos, the hunched, malformed, half-beast mutant who's been afflicted and racked with torments for quite some time.
At the moment, though, the mask, my transformation makes me look like an elf, remember? But as just thematically, I feel like the beam of light dispels that. Thematically, I will dispel it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it shows my true form under the
Mhm.
beam of Utsera.
So a handsome elven fellow dissolves away into the
Hunched,
abomination.
you know, like shoulder hunched, sort of crooked man, who with horns coming out of his head. The mask is still on my face, the bird mask, but that's never far from my face at any time. And I look to the Raven and I ask a question because I hear all this, and Walykos is thinking in his head, trying to put it all together quickly. And he says, "Why would you help me? I don't even know who you are."
You do not come to me as one who fears the unknown, but rather one who has been seeking. Are you not a seeker?
I seek, yes, but that doesn't answer the question. Why are you helping me? Is it because of an I motion to core gain, or is it some other reason that I must do a task for you or something of that nature? The way of the world, as altruistic as some beings may be, is nothing is free. Not even the power of the gods.
Your part is as one player in a greater whole. My coming is to answer the prayers of this one, humbled, broken.
When she said this one, was there any inflection, like, was she talking about the master rituals, Duncan? Or
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And he's getting up, affixes his robe back onto himself. My prayers have been answered. Your coming is most strange, but a fortune that is greater than what I deserve. I accept. Come to me, my boy. I will do what can be done by the grace of Utsira.
Oh, I'm still paralyzed.
Yeah.
Adriel's paralyzed. You're watching this with open eyes Duncan Mantivale's prayers seem to have been answered.
Wait, when he said his boy, though, was he talking to me?
He's talking to Walykos.
He spoke to Walykos.
Because the god said his penance is that he has to heal Walykos.
Yeah. So the impression you're getting, Walykos, is this obviously does involve you, but it seems to be more answering a prayer of this priest who has been in a pit of self-loathing for some time.
So the god has dodged my question quite nimbly, because it seems like the god definitely had a purpose to seeking me in my bed, drawing me halfway across the city, to the storm tower, and making me be in this place at this time.
And Adriel.
Yeah, of course, and Adriel. So that you could get paralyzed.
Exactly. It was all destiny. All foretold.
So
does this give you pause, Walykos?
It makes me suspicious that there's something more going on here. There is something more going on here that the god is not willing to say. But at the same time, it's kind of like when you have a really thirsty man and you have a cup of water, even if you don't know how much water, maybe it's just a little bit in the cup. Maybe there's nothing in the cup, but you want to reach for that cup because you're that thirsty. And she's offering me a chance to cure what it is. So
may I ask a quick question? Is Duncan is he like a priest?
He's the master of rituals.
Oh, okay. I had the wrong impression. I thought he was like a wizard or something. My bad.
Yeah, it's kind of. He's not like a player character class, but he is in that vague category of ritual magic, and
he's a special whipped up stat block of Espers.
He is an NPC. So if you wanted to if he had to be a player character, what would he be? He'd be a cleric wizard with the noble background. So there we go.
Cleric, wizard, warlock, rogue. Is this absurd? Is this
It's the beauty of non-player characters. They don't have to fit into
the
mold of a class. But obviously, you have
I was just
with the class.
Yeah.
So
my bad.
Really,
that was my fault.
Really, what I'm interested in is is Walykos saying something more? Is he stepping forward?
Yeah. I was taking my moments to think it through and go with my reasoning. Walykos hesitantly will approach this jowly, lard man of an elf, because for one, he doesn't really trust him or the god, but he needs to take this chance because the pain has been getting worse. He doesn't know how much longer he has before he just, in his sleep, maybe he'll just, spasm and die in his sleep. It doesn't even know. It's pretty bad when your body turns on you. So he's stepping forward and he says, Utsira, White Raven, I do not know what you are holding back, but if this does cure me, you will have earned my gratitude and perhaps a bit more than that. We will see if this pathetic wretch of a man who consorts with demons of the underworld can possibly set his hand to healing a curse wrought by an even greater evil than anything that he could possibly have done in his lifetime.
Adriel's still frozen.
Yeah. All right, so you say us,
Yeah.
and the godly voice whips around the room once more. It is only you that can choose to make your way through the darkness and into the light. If you do so, the light shall dispel the darkness. Are you willing to come from the darkness into the light?
I am willing to step out of the dark if it also removes this affliction. For this affliction is death, and any person should choose life over death, unless they are a fool, and I am no fool.
But our business.
Doesn't mean we can't still kill people.
Come to me, my son, and
I'm not your son.
I will do all that I can.
Make no mistake, Duncan. You're still a disgusting, old, perverted man that I have no love for. But if you can cure me, then you will have earned your redemption in the gods' eyes, but not, perhaps, in others. Yourself, you're the one who will have to live with your shame.
He bows his head down.
Anyways.
I do not refute your judgments. It is true. It is by the grace of Utsira now that I act. For my own is lacking.
Well, do what you can then. And I reach up and I take the mask and I feel like I have to do something to dislodge it because I wanted to make sure that it doesn't fall off. Maybe there's hooks and I have to undo the hooks or something.
It's secured on there so that you can be in action and it doesn't just fall off.
Exactly. And so I disable the hooks and slowly it comes down and there's this sort of malformed, I don't know if my face has been seen before now. I can't recall. It might have been in one time. But basically just sort of all the features of elven beauty have been twisted and contorted into some sort of almost scaly sort of affliction. Esper knows the beast better than I do, what it's called.
Yeah, your jaw is coming into a jut thing, and you've got some tusks starting to pop out. Your nose is turning into this strange, almost porcine look. Some might even say you're some kind of weird horned half beast orc thing, but that's actually not what you are. You're actually slowly turning into an animal.
Yep.
Literally a beast thing is what you'll turn into. And your arm, so you approach this warped and savage looking creature that you are. And Duncan Mantivale holds up a bowl of this like some kind of ash or powder, and he whispers words, and he prays to Utsira, and he puts a number of wafts through it, ritualistically over and over again, repeating these same mantra-like syllables. He burns salts in a brazier. He lights a couple of candles. He spreads unguents on you. He uses what looks to be a pretty, reasonable sum of value worth of arcane, of magical components, and he completes the ritual after some maybe 10 minutes or so. And he places his hands upon you and he says, "By the grace of the divine, may you be restored to your proper and true self." The shafts of light that are beaming down from the white raven intensify, and it's almost to a blinding effect. And Adriel, you start to feel yourself, regaining your own control.
Oh, Walykos, what was that? Oh,
Just see like
You
a
meet-
beam of light, and Walykos is like probably just like an outline,
Yep.
in the light.
What are you doing to him, grandfather? Answer me. And I'd probably like, because Adriel doesn't know. Well, I guess he probably
were your
heard.
ears
He
paralyzed as well?
Yeah,
So-
I could probably still hear. Never mind. I forgot
So-
that I could still hear them. Yeah.
You can still hear, yes.
Yeah, never mind.
So you start saying a couple things, Adriel, but your voice changes, and it kind of like fries out, like, and smoke starts to waft out of your mouth, and these little, like almost like a cloud of flies, you start coughing out, and it's a pretty horrible retching sensation. And Walykos, the racks of pain hit you once again. And the same like smoking effect with these like little buzzing gnat things start like emanating off of your body.
Yeah, Walykos is going to start like spasming, and probably like there's like bone popping noises as like little puffs of like smoke come out of his pores. He probably falls to his to his knees and then on his side as he just like is like constantly jerking in pain.
If it matters, like Adriel, while coughing, like if he sees that happen to Walykos, he would try he'd probably be like almost falling too, because that's like,
Yeah, I
pretty
imagine
painful.
you're on the ground like
I'd
trying
be
to
crawling
get to
towards
Walykos.
Walykos, yeah, like because he's like concerned, like making sure he's okay too, but he's like, oh my gosh.
But through the pain, Walykos will hold up like one hand and be like, "I'm fine. Just finish it." And probably I'd just like turn it up,
Yeah, the two of you endure this for a moment here, and you are in like a cocoon of light, and you feel your whole body like it feels like it's like spinning within itself and like fractionating into these spiraling, twisting sensations, and then it resolves. And the Adriel's coughing and Walykos's, body fuming and smoking, it all like subsides, and this, this golden, not golden, but kind of a silvery white light, this cocoon of light resolves into, and we're actually going to get to it in just a second, because Walykos is looking different now. But there's another effect. You actually can't, the cocoon of light kind of fades off, and you can't really see him so well now. The general illumination of the room shifts. The white raven, it continues to be the source of illumination here in the darkness. So it's still limbed in light, but it's not these brilliant beams casting out anymore.
Is there
Really what you...
Can I do something thematic? I know that you're the DM and control things, but I want to suggest this, and you tell me if it's a cool idea. I almost want to say that there's like a pile of feathers covering Walykos, white feathers, after this beam has hit him, and he's, kind of contorted himself, and the feathers just surrounded him and cocooned him, and then he's going to, well, as
Sure.
we probably know, reveal.
We get a glimpse of the white feathers, and we'll get back to that as the lighting actually comes off of where you two are and where Duncan, Mantivale, and
But let's cut to Aygir and Vapor first. No, just kidding.
Next time,
Aygir and
in
Vapor
Mirrormourn.
are being very patient, and I thank you for that. But I think this is an important moment.
We'll get this through.
The sources of illumination really is the white raven up there at the ceiling, where it continues to hover, but it's not bright shafts radiating out any longer. It's more concentrated around the raven. And in the darkness, there is a sound. The sound is like the echo of Adriel's like rasping and hacking, and the echo of like Walykos's like grunting and like smoking and popping. Like it's out there, and this echo like doesn't go away. And from the light, from a dim light, as the raven focuses now its illumination to where these rasping, moaning sounds are, you see like this cloud of smoke, this like area of smoky haze. And you see a silhouette of Adriel and a silhouette of Walykos, and they're like in a boat, and you see this young this young halfling boy, and you hear Adriel's word of what was you said something before
Oh
you.
goodness, yeah. What I think I said. Oh,
I
what
know
did
you
I
came up
say?
behind him because he was
Yeah,
talking to
you
me.
come up and you like say you're like yeah, you're like your little
Yeah.
thing, and you like murder
Mhm.
him, and then the smoke shifts, and you see the two of you like trying to kidnap this noble's grandchild to like ransom her off to thieves. And you also see a scene of you all helping these smugglers bring in these like barrels and stuff. So this like smoke silhouette show kind of plays out. There's probably more things that we haven't seen in
Oh,
the
the
campaign,
maybe do we
but it
see the
kind of
Goblin
like,
Girl?
yeah, it like plays out your own
It's your
secrets
greatest hits,
and
Adriel.
yeah. It's Adriel and Walykos's like dark deeds
Yeah.
being brought into the light now.
For sure.
You two who are so quick to judge, the voice of the god dispels the smoking silhouettes, yet your own inner darkness runs deep and rancid. You can hear off to the side Corgain Michael's voice. I can't believe this, Walykos. Why would you do this? I didn't get you out of the clutches of Baal Vonda for you to do this sort of deeds.
What deeds exactly are you accusing me of?
Is Adriel able to
so
hear this,
actually,
by the way?
I before we like make it official that you say that, is that truly how Walykos feels at this moment?
I mean, so
like defend myself, or do you feel like a new?
I do want to turn over a new leaf. Yes, I understand where you're going for. Redemption is good.
Mhm.
But I also feel that like I'm being kind of lumped in with Adriel's sins at the same time. So it's just a moment of he has that thought of like, well, I didn't do that. You know, I'm not the one who killed, like in every situation. And Esper, you
Yeah,
can tell me.
Walykos never killed anyone. Yeah, it was always
Well,
Adriel.
I just want to say, think back, Esper. Walykos has always been the voice of temper to Adriel's. Adriel killed the thief in the first one, and he didn't want to kill the other thief. The Goblin Girl, Walykos said no. Even the halfling at the end, that was.
So sure.
Yeah,
But
Walykos said
you don't
like,
need to
"Why did you
convince
do
me.
this?" Yeah.
I just need to know
I
truly what
understand.
Walykos's reaction is.
It's important though that I brought that all up because I
Mhm.
wanted to make it clear that Walykos has never engaged in that activity, even though he has been
Yeah,
party
you
to
have
it.
never been the like an immediate principal perpetrator.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think from my, at least just to add a little bit to it as well, from my perspective, it was almost more like Adriel was like basically like a lifelong friend, and it was sort of like Walykos didn't really want to like lose that, even if Adriel was doing wrong things.
you're my brother.
Yeah.
You're like I can't kill you. I can't do anything, to
Yep.
you.
Exactly.
So I gotta protect you. And so the question Corgain asked to bring us back to the moment, Esper, was how could you do this, right? Okay. Corgain, when you saved me, I had another chance at life. I thought before that you knew the evil thing. Like, you must have known what Baal Vondor made me do in his name. What I must have. The things I did then are far, far more worse and vile. And yet you still took the chance to save my soul and me from that place, because he surely would have turned me into his Night Stalker or some other monster that he would have set upon Barnacle for his revenge. Do you regret that decision now? Do you see that I have been trying to live my life, trying to do what I thought was right in the moment? I'm not as good a man as many, but I am not an evil man either, Corgain. I do not cruelly seek out evil to power myself or to harm innocence. In fact, I do just the opposite. I try to protect it where I can. I try to stay close to my friend and counsel him towards wisdom on the path that we walk together. If you wish to judge me, then what about, what about before? What changed?
Well, it seems you've thought this through rather well, Walykos.
Not really. I just said what first came to my mind.
I simply didn't expect that you would have taken up company with murderers, thieves, and kidnappers. If we are to be a bulwark against whatever fell tide is about to encroach upon this land, we must keep ourselves to much nobler aims.
You have a point, old friend. It's not like I want to commit atrocities or to be a cruel and uncaring person who just kills because it suits me. I have done what I've done in the hope that I could overcome this curse, that I could help my friends and those who I care about and their goals as well. For it's not just about me. There are others who need our help as well.
I hope that you mean that. For all of our sakes, I dearly hope that you mean that.
Well, I now have to ask myself if this is a moment, a point in time where a decision where two paths could go one way or the other. The way I've been going, I could take this gift that I've been given and just return to my life of wandering and roguish behavior. Or perhaps I can use this gift for a higher purpose. I suspect that's the real reason why this God has blessed me. There's something else.
Clearly so.
There's something else at work here. And I am too blind to be able to see what that might be at this time. But I will try to see it if I am permitted to do so.
The voice of the god is actually the one that responds to you, and it says, if this is the choice that you have made, step into the light. And at the moment, Walykos is transformed, but we can't quite see him. We just see this faint silhouette, and you said there were some feathers.
I imagine like their feathers have kind of like covered me, sort of like a blanket, cloak, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The god beckons you to step into a a shaft of light, a pool of silver white luminescence.
It's past my bedtime. I should probably get going, No, I'm just kidding.
It's your choice to make, mortal.
Screw you, God, I'm out. No, I do, with respect, step into the light. Feeling that, like, wait, there's more, is what I think to myself. Because I'm like, wait, that wasn't what it was.
That wasn't the thing. That wasn't the thing, God.
The thing has happened. The thing has
Correct.
happened, but now it's like reveal, show yourself.
Now the
Come
God is
into-
putting on a show. He's like showing all his magic little fairy dust stuff.
I gotta walk the runway.
Strut yourself, Walykos. Strut yourself.
Walykos will step into the light. And Esper, how should I describe this? What do you
Yes,
want?
what do we see?
Okay. What you see is a transformed Walykos. Adriel, you know him from his youth, and this looks similar, but a little less elvish. There's a mixture, almost a little bit of just subtle. It's not human, but there's something a little off about his elven features, as if he was, not pure elf anymore after this transformation. Maybe there's something a little bit bird-like, a little ravenish, almost, in some of his eye, the shape of his eyes or the curve of his nose. But yes, so he's wearing, I want to say, a white cloak of feathery, sort of material that comes with him, and he's no longer twisted. He's walking straight. He's a very lean man, and very sort of graceful in his movement, which is completely different from his shuffling, sort of like crooked way that he was before.
So, yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when Adriel sort of like sees Walykos kind of like as he once was, like probably many years ago, like it's probably been years since like he's seen Walykos like this. Like, so Adriel still had his swords, probably, like he probably would just like kind of like drop his swords like in amazement and like kind of just like walk up to Walykos and like actually touch his face to like making sure and everything. But like Adriel's eyes are just sort of like in awe, and he like touches his face and he goes, Walykos, it's real? You're back? And then he'll just like hug Walykos.
Oh, not so tight. I am not as I once was, as big and dull to the pain.
Put your back, Walykos, and he like grabs your shoulders, like you're.
I put my hand on your shoulder. I'm like, yes, it's true. It's me.
I can't believe this. It's amazing. How do you feel better? Is everything all right?
I feel like a new man, we'll say. And truthfully, I don't think I've felt this good in since before I joined Belvander. In truth, I don't know if I joined him because my life felt purposeless, aimless. But this is like a second chance at life. Perhaps I'll be able to make something out of it. And if you'll join me, Adriel, I'd like to take you on this enlightened path with me. Which means that you're going to have to make some changes. Not magical changes like this one. Although the true change is not just something that you can see on the outside.
So when you mention that,
like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, Adriel is sort of like gets off of you a bit, and he kind of like looks you in the eye and says, Are you sure everything's all right, Walykos? I don't understand. change. What we've been doing has been working perfectly fine for these last years.
You see owl pupils. No, just kidding. Who? Anyways, no, I
But
say
this is a question that I was actually going to pose, but you've proactively done so.
I can
Adriel.
predict a little bit your thoughts.
Mhm.
Yeah. Adriel, Walykos, and your grandfather, Lord Duncan, both have had personal revelations and personal transformations, internal and external. Now you have your part that you play in this. You've been some of the roguish company.
Yeah, so
do you,
I
do
guess
you do you what do you feel? Do you feel like, hey, good for Walykos, but this ain't me. I'm not in on this. Or are you thinking, well, I just completely castigated and slapped my grandfather due to being like a corrupt official and having demon orgies, but also like I've murdered people and probably done even worse stuff.
yeah, this is
I
like
mean,
this
he
is
slapped
this
him
is
because he didn't invite him to the demon. Orgy.
exactly. That's the problem. That's the I wasn't invited now.
But
This is
it's a serious question because
No,
it is.
it's really Adriel's.
Mhm.
Who is Adriel underneath it all?
Yeah, no, this is actually
Spotlight
like
you.
yeah, for the audience, this might actually be not as you expect. Adriel does not want to change. He does not feel like he wants to be redeemed. He doesn't feel like what he's doing is, I mean, maybe he knows it's wrong, but he doesn't really care. Like Adriel is essentially like a sociopath. You know, like he is one of the only people he really cares about is Walykos. And he is very happy and ecstatic for Walykos, but Adriel does not want to change. At this moment, he sees Duncan as a piece to be thrown to the side so he can take the castle, essentially, so he can get power. So I guess he would look to Walykos, sort of taken aback, and kind of say, and like kind of look down a bit, because he is a little bit of like he doesn't. He's like in this weird moment where he's like kind of ashamed, but he also doesn't want to change.
You just vomited out some of your evil. You can have a reflective moment, you know.
Yeah. And then he'll look up and say, "My dear friend Walykos, I'm not like this. It's not all of this. It's not me, Walykos. I'm not pure white like this. I'm not pure good. I'm not holy. I kill for a living. I see my grandfather here and I want to throw him into the streets and cast him away. I don't see this. This doesn't Corgain, why have you done this to him? He was fine just a bit ago. Why couldn't you just fix him? Fix the way he looked? He doesn't. Why did you poison his mind with these visions of godlike?
Adriel, none of them poisoned my mind.
This isn't you, Walykos. This isn't you. I've seen you.
Adriel,
I know what we do.
You know what we do, and I think you've known for some time that I've never approved of the extreme lengths that you've gone to.
No, that's not. No, you never stopped me once. You know that what we did, we needed to do.
And that's...
It was to survive, Walykos. We were cast aside by him, and I point at my grandfather.
Survival is not necessary to killing innocent halflings on their boat. Survival is not necessary to killing someone who is just trying to survive on the street. Taking money to kill people as well. I did it because we were together, and you're like a brother to me, Adriel. The loyalty to you is how I measure myself against the world. If I am not loyal to you, then I am worthless to everything else in this world.
then stay with me, Walykos. And I sort of like grab you by the shoulders and like you actually see my eyes kind of welling up a little bit like, Walykos, don't. You're all I have, Walykos.
Adriel, that's not going to change. But I'm changed now. It's not that I'm magically, my mind is not transformed into some different person. It's like, you know how you've been asleep and you've been dreaming, and everything in that dream makes sense while you're in the dream. But then when you awaken, certain things you realize that made sense perhaps don't make as much sense anymore. You realize that some of the things you did were so abnormal, they just made sense in the moment because of the situation. I don't think that I'm ever going to forswear you, Adriel. You are still my brother. I still love you, and I still want to keep you as an ally, my friend, and at my side in whatever adventures and misadventures we have. But at the same time, we need change. We need to evolve. We need to step forward, to not be held by the shackles of the past, which we cannot change the past, but we can change what's coming. Adriel, you wanted to be part of the vanguard. You wanted to be one who protects the city. Now, there are many ways to do that. Some of them are harsh ways. Some of them are necessary ways that I know that you are okay with doing and handling that Aygir and Vapor may not. But we need to find a balance. We need to find a balance in your life that is not simply acting in a way that is going to damn you, to send you to a more wretched state than your grandfather is right now. Can you imagine what brought him to this place?
He's an old fool. That's what brought him to this
But
place.
not everyone begins as an old fool. Everyone begins somewhere innocent. It's the choices you make along the way, these tiny choices, whether you let someone live or condemn them and judge them and kill them.
And
That
he
choice.
and I point to my grandfather. He deserves to be condemned. He deserves to be walked onto the executioner's block.
And one day, Adriel, will you deserve that as well? I don't want that.
Yeah, Adriel gets a bit quiet there. Like he kind of thinks about that. Like
My high wisdom score coming into effect.
yeah, he just sort of like he gets his hands off of you and he just sort of like starts like thinking, and he starts like kind of pacing like around the room a bit, like
Corgain is actually, he's not jumping in, but he's speaking up here. Adriel, these things you speak of are so small-minded. Don't you see what is happening here?
Yes, I see what you've...
Noble house fights noble house, brother fights brother, family versus family, side versus side. We bicker and we vie for power, and all the while, the Balin and their ilk plot. What would it matter if you cast Duncan aside and claim the Storm Tower when the enemy descends upon us and there's nothing left of Barnacle? Or
if we win, Corgain, if I can take the city, if we can rally and gain the power, we can fight back against what you say. It all matters what we do now. We're not going to be able to come together without violence. We have to take the city. And this is my chance. This is our chance, Walykos.
And there are many ways that this could happen, Adriel. But what is more important? Having a city of people and not ruling it or ruling over a kingdom of ashes.
it won't be a kingdom of ashes. Our rule will be just and swift. We will deal with the robbers and the killers. We will be sure that they do not have a say. The ones that are willing to work, the ones that are willing to fight for us, they will have all of the glory, Walykos. And they will fight for us.
This is why I like you, because you have these amazing ideas, these inspiration things. There are people out there who are far too afraid to seize what they want. They live in fear every day that if they step out of line, the world will crush them. And you don't fear that, Adriel. But yet the world is still heavy. And alone, if you were to try to do this, obviously Duncan is not going to be able to stop you, but there's the Balin, there's the
There are forces that we do not know yet what we are contending with.
Yes, Corgain. I was trying to make the point. The Merocrats.
You might succeed in your vie for power, Adriel, but then the next will come who thinks just like you, and
then I will crush him into the dirt.
Corgain. I don't think
maybe you'll crush one man into the dirt, but how will you crush 12 assassins that descend upon your bedchamber while you
don't
sleep?
think that's helpful, Corgain. I know what you're trying to say, but I don't think he's receptive. He's not going to hear you. Adriel, I hear your point. I understand what you want from this world. But recognize that there are people in this world, Aygirs and Vapors and even Walykoses, who can't do what you are willing to do. And for your world to exist, this absolute world that you seem to want to make happen, there wouldn't be a place in that world for many of us. There has to be a balance. There has to be good that balances evil. There has to be a neutral center that we all can agree upon, a code that we live by, just like we do with each other. Because no matter what, I'm pretty sure if you had the choice between right now becoming the king, the ruler of all of Haven Isle, or saving my life, I think I know what your code would choose. I don't say which one, just out of character.
yeah. No, Adriel like thinks on it, and he kind of like looks to you, and then like you see him kind of like look away a bit, almost like in shame, when he thinks of what he would do in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Then he kind of looks up to you again and goes, I don't know what I'd do, Walykos, actually.
None of us know what we'll do until the moment when we're forced to make a choice. You can think with certainty that these are the choices that you will always make. But you have a choice, Adriel. Never let anyone deceive you to make you think that you don't have a choice. When the moment comes, you may think that you have made your choice already ahead of time. But when the moment comes, who knows what you may actually choose.
Like Adriel's like kind of almost like hyperventilating. Like he's like breathing very heavily.
I'm
like
hitting you with heavy wisdom stuff. And I'm very carefully. I tried to like silence Corgain because I'm like, no, you're taking him down the wrong path. You're gonna drive him to the darkness. You have to make him reflect. You have to make him actually choose whether or not he's going to make the decision consciously.
Yeah, Adriel kind of like looks up to you again and goes, "You have always been the voice of reason. Your wisdom has spoken very loudly, and I've always looked to you for my advice and for my counsel. But it's not something. It's
Adriel. We're not going to suddenly have a fight on the top of the storm tower and say you were my brother or something, and like cast each other away. No, we're still brothers. We're still, in this together. The world versus Adriel and Walykos. But if you let me show you, perhaps there's another way than the ways that you choose. Just you've already done it. It's nothing that you haven't done before. You've listened to my plans from time to time. I've listened to your plans. Give me a chance to show you that there is a better way, and you can still have things that you want in this life. But you don't have to necessarily become the monster to fight the monsters and turn this world into the world of peace and order that you want.
Is law not more useful than chaos, though? The
Of
way
course.
it is in
I
Barnacle
don't-
at the moment with these feuding families, as you, Corgain, have mentioned, if we just become the one family that rules it all, that is law. That
Uh,
is order, and that is what we need to fight back against these
Now-
monstrosities you speak of, Corgain. Is it not?
It very well could be.
We need a
I don't think-
strong leader. Perhaps that could
No
be you,
offense to
Walykos.
Corgain, I don't think he has all the answers. I mean, he has a lot of answers, and I want answers from you, Corgain. You're not
Perhaps-
getting out of this one.
Perhaps Walykos, the leader, cannot be me, but perhaps it could be you. But let me get that throne for you. Let me take it.
Perhaps. I don't know what may come in this future, but you have points that we need to unite the city. We need to stop the separated factions, but the method that we use doesn't have to be. We don't have to decide that at this moment. We need to gather our allies. We need to find the pieces that have been dividing the Night Stalker. We need to find the agents who are conspiring within the noble families and the merocrats and the city, regardless. And we need to show this place. We need to show Barnacle, all of Haven Isle, that we are the only other alternative is destruction. And we are the best hope that they have for peace and order.
Perhaps there is some to discuss. And perhaps I think that I need some time to think of on this, Walykos.
I need some time as well. I need totally,
alone.
I understand. I'll let you stay at the bird tower. I think I will.
No. You stay at the bird tower while
I'll return there. I'll return there, but I think I want to walk the city a little, and I haven't had this body in so many years. Not that I am planning anything per se, but one could conceive that there's certain things that, as my other form, as much as I hid it behind masks, there's just things
that you don't need to say enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
But I didn't have much to think on, and I'm gonna look to Duncan again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we do need to deal with this piece of shit.
You have much to answer for.
Well, this
Walykos
has just healed you, Walykos.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Walykos.
I say it kind of jokingly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Walykos, my friend, may have spared you at the moment. They may have spared you at the moment, but I still want to see you on the chopping block.
I don't think that killing him would serve much purpose at all. I think perhaps a retirement might be better. One could say he's getting up there in years. Was he in his 70s, 80s now?
He's not that old. He's
50.
probably Yeah, maybe late 50s, probably early 60s, something like
I
that.
do see this as a potential alternative, grandfather, but you will give your stature, your status to my house.
One could even see this as a benefit, Duncan. Having such heavy responsibilities would be a temptation to fall back. Such wealth and decadence is the road that led to your sin, I would presume, without actually knowing the specifics. Perhaps a more ascetic lifestyle might suit you better in your atonement that you seek. And Walykos is backing Adriel's play here a little.
The proper path for me will be made clear. But if you aim to murder me, Adriel, then we have accomplished nothing here today.
I would be lying if I said it probably hadn't crossed his mind. But Duncan, I don't think that murdering you really, it's not anything that would help you or us. And I think that you want to repent. You did what you did to me. That was an action that showed your commitment. But one action, one good deed, one bad deed does not balance a life, the scales of a life. One must continue.
I have given my vow to Utsira.
Yes.
I am dedicating my life now to atoning for all the wrong that I've done.
And in that case, perhaps Walykos's play on you becoming ascetic, ascetic, and being essentially a hermit would be best, and you can give the power that you wield to my house, the ones that you cast away.
We can work out the details. That's not important. Let's perhaps say that for tonight there are going to be some changes that need to be negotiated in all of this. Can you agree to that, Duncan?
I am of no mind to know what the specifics would be, but certainly talks will begin shortly.
Perfect.
And something new will have to come to replace
Sleep
old.
and reflect. Tonight has been a trying night for you. Once you have had a night of sleep in the morning, that is what will truly tell whether or not you are committed to this moment of redemption.
The god Utsira has a final pulse.
Oh, I forgot that she was still there. Yeah.
Yeah. The spirit fades away.
Wait, Utsira, wait.
A white feather, slightly luminescent, comes down after the god disappears, and Duncan Mantivale grabs for it.
Oh, can I also try and grab for it?
You sure can.
Yeah, like what would that be? Like a dex or something?
Dexterity sleight of hand.
Oh, I am not proficient in that. 14.
How does a unnatural 20 do?
Oh, so you beat me.
Walykos snatches it first out of the air.
That was my first instinct. Like I wasn't trying to deny Duncan necessarily, but my first instinct when you started to describe it was to snatch it. Then you said Duncan reaches for it. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm vying with him for it.
Oh yeah, Adriel was just like, a god's feather? That's kind of valuable, right? Like,
all the lessons, all the good morality, it boils down to, a magic item.
Exactly.
Duncan Mantivale, weary, says, "Please be gone from here. I must rest now."
We will return shortly.
Reflect.
And he shuffles off.
All right.
Corgain says,
Yeah, I've got questions for you. You're not going anywhere.
there is much to discuss.
Shall we adjourn from this estate? I know Adriel needs some alone time, but I feel like I need to walk and, come with me through the city. Perhaps we can find some place where we can share our thoughts.
I suggest we reconvene. And it's not only you, but all of your allies.
I would like
For
that
what
as
we
well.
have to, what we have to discuss involves you all.
Can I at least tell you this, as you may already know and suspect by us being here? Our mission was successful. We killed and stopped 5 of the agents of Baal Vondor on the Isle of Blackrock. They had
Well, I'm glad to hear that,
Yeah.
as there is much that troubles me, though not without glimmers of hope. And this is yet another glimmer of hope.
we'll
You have
talk
done. You have done well. My heart feels that it is ringing against itself by the great pride and enthusiasm I have for you, and the disappointment and remorse that I feel. Now is not a good time. I think we all need moments to ourselves. Let us reconvene. Shall it be in 2 days?
Can we meet at the place, the ruins of the old Balins, and the what is that district called?
We want to meet in the Crumble.
The Crumble, yes. I think that would be best.
Fine and well. I will see you then, say at noonday in the Crumble here in 2 days' time.
Where we met last before in the Crumble, yes.
Very well. It is good to see you made whole. I am happy for you that the curse has been lifted.
Thank you, Corgain. And while my words may have been defensive, I know that you always wanted to help me from the beginning. I know that it wasn't whether I'd done good or evil. I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It was not my own sins or my choices. It was your choice to help me, and that you wanted to show me that there was another better way than Baal Vondor's way of revenge
Yes,
and
of
hatred.
course. Yes. Yes. But as Utsira spoke, there are larger works at play, which is bigger than any one of us individually.
Well, I feel that we're at a point where, as a group, we're actually more willing to take on a larger role in fighting against these sort of things that threaten the city of Barnacle and Haven Isle, or all the people.
We will speak of that. We will discuss this.
2 days.
So it's set that you'll meet in 2 days' time, and everyone slithers off into the night after having a very strange and profoundly mystical experience. I will award Adriel and Walykos both 2 milestones.
Oh wow!
Yay!
I was not expecting a whole 2 milestones, but I will. I appreciate.
A very significant moment.
I was pulling out some of the deep, like wisdom that I have.
No, it was
we're gonna learn more about what Walykos is capable of now, as he's gone through much transformation. That'll be revealed in the incoming scenes and adventures and such.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Aygir and Vapor, once again, much appreciation for you all being good sports with the goings on and the other half of the party. So do you either of you have anything of import or interest that you would be doing in the intervening 2 days?
Well, the plan as established last time, before they went off on their little dalliance to, play with demons or whatever they're doing,
Right.
was
The
to,
armor?
yes, to work on some sort of armor that Connor Spindle was going to show him a few tricks.
Vapor would be gathering, probably heading outside the city to gather herbs and stuff. If he doesn't have to pay for them, he won't.
Vapor, are you interested in returning back to the Broken Tower with Aygir?
He might go for a little bit, just to borrow some of the. See if they have anything he can use for his potion making. But otherwise, he has no real desire to constantly be there.
So what I am imagining is Aygir is at the Broken Tower with Connor Spindle in the workshop, and they're putting their minds together, sharing notes, and working on this magnificent suit of armor that you have constructed in attempt to enhance it. Meanwhile, Vapor is in probably the Tangle looking for fungal components and herbal reagents.
You want me to roll anything for that check? See what he can find?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to start off with a roll, do a herbalist wisdom.
Okay, wisdom. That's a 12.
You're having not the best of luck. You, for some time, have been trawling through the great petripod mushrooms. Well, I guess I should say mutapods, because petropod's the final state once they've petrified. So the living ones and the stony ones both, looking for components. I should have asked you something before you rolled, but I don't think it's a problem for us to retroactively ask it. Are you just doing like some general harvesting, staying in familiar areas, safer areas?
Yeah,
or are you wanting to go deeper, take more risk, and try to find something more valuable?
For the most part, he'll stay to the general areas, but if he doesn't find anything, he might venture a little bit more into the dangerous areas, but not. His main thing is just to see if he can find enough to make a couple of healing potions.
Okay, so you decide, I'm only interested in some more common things. I don't want to go anywhere particular dangerous, especially by myself. You're having a difficult time coming upon what you're interested in. Okay. You hear a sound, and you look in the direction. What you are surrounded by are essentially giant mushrooms. They used to be these kind of sea jellyfish type creatures. They've come onto land many years ago, giant things, and they've planted and rooted in and literally transformed into fungus, gone into like a new phase of their life cycle. And they've got these long, dangling fungal tresses coming down. There are other various patches of fungus. There are some plants as well, grasses and ferns and little, spirally frond things, flowers, but predominantly these giant fungal growths. So sort of forest-like terrain, but instead of traditional trees, we have the giant mushrooms. So you look and you see through the this mushroom forest terrain here a Fearbog character. He's pretty tall, as Fearbogs tend to be, over 7 foot, has on clothing that's made of these, woven fibrous materials, has a lot, a pretty heavy leather sash and belt, some satchels on the belt. He has a staff, and he's kind of thumping on, stalks and trunks and whatnot. Very hairy. They're very, very hairy. His hair has this kind of soft blue sea foamy color to it, and he has like a pretty pronounced nose as well. Luck. No luck.
Not much in my searches for what I seek. What of you?
Yeah, but he says some things, and he recognizes that you don't understand him. Yeah, need rain. Need rain. Bad, no. Good, now. No. And he makes some small talk with you and seems to indicate that he hasn't had much luck as well.
Yes, well,
You
rain for a while.
no more. Where you friend? Where you friend?
Barnacle.
City.
Vapor will nod his head.
Like a friend, you friend is you eat?
Yes. Vapor will pull out like some sort of ration and toss it to him.
No. He tosses it back to you. You eat. Me eat. To cantable. To pumpable. Tam pumpatatarb. He's like seems to be gesturing towards you.
Vapor will follow him.
Eat good. Good, you come. So he's seems to be inviting you to eat, and he's gestured in the direction of the Firbolg village. Do you go with him? Is this interesting to you?
Yeah, Vapor will. Even though there's that communication block, and that is irritating Vapor, but free food is free food.
So you follow him. You follow this Firbolg fellow, who he introduces himself to you, and he says, Danbor. Yeah. Me. I.
Vapor.
Danbor. Vapor. Yes. Vapor. Habata. Limba. Kahan. Yes. Vapor. Aygir friend.
Yes, a friend of Aygir's.
So he tries to make some small talk with you. It's quite a bit of a barrier, but he seems to be amiable towards you, associating you with Aygir, who's in very good graces with the Firbolgs, as we know. So he actually invites you back to the Firbolg village, and when you come, you of course garner the attention of a lot of the Firbolgs. Everything from the little children, they come up to you and they want to talk to you and they want to touch you. Some of them are like asking you questions and you can't tell, what the hell are they asking? But there is one who can speak a little bit better and who you're familiar with, Candela, the wise man of the village. An older Firbolg, shamanic type fellow, at least a wise elder. Vapor, I hear tell you are looking for herb in the tangle. It is not a good time. We are in dry season at the moment.
Yes. My new acquaintance, I wrote his name down, I probably say it wrong. Tempor was saying that before.
Danbor.
Danbor.
Yes.
Danbor.
Yeah. Yes. Tell me what you are looking for. You are a friend of Aygir. Aygir's friend is our friend.
I was hoping to find mostly basic herbs to make potions to help heal those who are injured.
Why you want this? You think you will be going to battle soon?
Not specifically. I seem to recover without need of them, but those that I travel with are not as lucky as I am at that, or as, or perhaps they are lucky that they don't. So I wish to aid them, at least Aygir.
I remember now you have a troll curse. But you said it is not all curse.
It's not all.
It
I
is
would
help.
like.
It is help too.
I have been studying my blood, for that's where this curse dwells, I believe, in hopes to finding what causes the curse and to remove that part, but keep the part that lets me heal.
You want to keep the good, but have no more the bad.
Yes.
When you learn this secret, please come tell me.
I might. It is though my fear that secret, if spread too far and too many, could cause many bad things.
Well, I think many bad things happen when people try to cut away all that they are thinking is bad to keep all they are thinking is good. Sometimes we do not know what is exactly good and what is exactly bad.
I agree to that.
Life very complicated. People say they're not confused. They are confused.
I
am old man. I have many years. This suck. I am wise though. I learn much in my years. I know more than he knows and she knows. I know more than all of these children know together. They come to me. I help them. I help them with gift talent too. Yes. Shamanism. But I am old and these suck. My back hurts. My knuckle stiff. I forget many things. Sometimes I not make what is called caca. My stomach feels so bad not make caca. I not have this problem when I was a kid. Maybe I would give all shamanism to be kid again.
I don't believe it would give you back that.
You are very serious, man. Maybe you need to learn a joke.
I've become serious for my short times on this planet, on this world, these lands. I spent my youth running around doing many things, not being serious, and perhaps that was a well-spent youth, perhaps it was not well spent. But now I must be serious because what afflicts me must be cured. For I can't go near fire without feeling the intense heat. It drains me, and I fear something else will affect me as well from this curse. I don't know of what, But since I know trolls fear flame and acid, I'm wary of acid as well. I've not yet tested it. But with these two...
You don't want to test it, I don't think.
No, because if it is true, more damage it can cause to me than I can hope to repair.
Ah. This is why you come to the Tangle. You speak of what you call energy drink to help your friends in battle, but there is more reason why you come to Tangle. You are seeking this free from curse thing. I help you. I always try to help my friend. You might need go farther in the Tangle. Is dangerous place this, but you might find something there. You might find. Do you know this this thing? It is this green color, not leaf, not leaf, like mushroom. Have three part make catacolca. Catacolca. You know this catacolca. This thing is animal, slow, very slow, has house on back.
A
Slow. Snail is a shape green thing with a three shape like snail. You know this thing is more in cave you find place.
Perhaps. Now the question, and this is out of character.
I can have a man show you there. Maybe you go with Aygir. Maybe you go with other friend too. Is dangerous place. I think this cave you find. I will tell you name, but I do not know name in elf tongue. We call Espires. You ask Aygir, perhaps he know. Well, actually, you are a herbalist, but he's just saying the name of it in. Give me a check. Give me like
I was going to ask.
nature. Yeah, do like a knowledge nature check.
Oh my god, the dice are not with me tonight. That is a 7.
Okay, so you think, green fungal growth has a tri-spiral thing at the top. You've never heard of something like that. He called it Espires, or in his pronunciation.
Type that so I can write it down, because there's no way I'm going to be able to remember that name.
Yeah. All right. I'll put it here in comment. That's what he has called it in the Firbolg tongue, like a Sylvan tongue. It would have a different name in
all right.
Elvish.
Now Vapor's got a reason to go find Aygir and go visit the broken tower.
So,
but before that, Vapor does have a question for him.
Candela has indicated he can have like one of the huntsmen or scouts show you where this cave is. That's deeper in the Tangle. It's a more dangerous place to go. But he thinks, hey, this might be an ingredient that you could use in your alchemical herbalism pursuits, with the hopes of getting rid of this vulnerability to fire and or acid.
Okay, yeah, because Vapor's going to want to make sure that it's just going to remove that, but keep the healing portion of it. If he bleeds, at least it would just remove the curse part, not the benefit.
Well, you'll have your pursuits with it, and maybe some more information about it. The specifics of it will come to light if you get into that. For what it's worth, he will give you just some basic 25 GP worth of common healing herbs, and you can use that to produce a healing potion whenever you would like.
Okay. All right. What time of day is it currently?
It can be pretty much. It can be pretty much any time you want it to be.
Because I figured
I'm sure you've spent at least a few hours traveling and foraging and stuff.
So I would say be about midday then. So Vapor would head back, probably figuring. Well, actually, probably knowing Aygir well enough, he'd still be at the broken tower.
So yeah, you finish up eating. You had like a meal with the Fearbolgs. Wendella says, "It is good to see you. Until next time."
Hopefully, it will not be long before we return with Aygir, and we can go search this place that you mentioned.
I would be glad to see him again.
I'll let him know that he has been missed here. With that, I think Vapor will...
Balavanika.
Balavanika?
I am not going. You are going. So Balavanika to you.
Vapor will just nod his head and walk away, and he won't say it, but in his mind he's just muttering, gives me a goodbye, I try to say it back, and he won't even accept it. God damn. And all those kids, they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, asking questions. Like, he remained calm, but it's like he knows not to piss people off, but it's just like he wants to.
Oh, sure. But before you leave, there's like these two little Fearbolt girls, and they've made these little necklaces with like seashells.
and he knows it's like he takes them, and he pulls out. Oh, where is mine?
They're just trying to sell them for 1 copper piece each.
Okay, yeah, he gives them 2 copper pieces each.
They giggle and smile and go, skipping off.
Yeah, he pockets the necklaces. It's like he's not gonna wear them. Probably will put them somewhere else, but continues on his way. And he's gonna head back to the city and specifically to the Broken Tower because, knowing Aygir, he's probably there working on his armor. And if he's not, he can just ask Spindle questions.
Excellent. You arrive at the Broken Tower, and it's like early afternoon time at the moment, and you are greeted by Adelmond, Mayor Domo of the Broken Tower, who wears the half-face mask. Yes, Vapor, you are welcome to come inside.
Thank you.
I will see you up the hoist. Aygir and the master, they have been in a serious frenzy of craftsmanship for they haven't even eaten their lunch. It's grown cold. If you would take this tray up with you.
If I must. And he'll take the tray, and it's like, oh.
Yes, well, it's good to see you in high spirits. Come on. And you go up to the cage. He cranks the hoist. You head up there. And like as soon as you get up into the upper level with all the, various collected curios and, tarp overhanging, bulging, who knows what's, and the big seating area with a large chair of Canis. As soon as you get up there, you hear the chatter of Canis and Aygir. He's like, why would you put that there? That's not. And then Aygir's got his reasons why he would put that there, and but that's backwards. Whatever. They're kind of bickering with one another, but also quite into their work. And you hear the sound of tools, and you have this tray with some plates of food and some cups of water and tea and such. And you come upon
this could go. This could only go there. This can't go anywhere else. Why would you put it anywhere else? This is where I'm going to put it. Do you have a problem?
That must be something from a hobgoblin measurements. No elf would put it.
Wes, look at me. Am I an elf? Am I an elf? Do I look like an elf to you? I know your eyes aren't what they used to be, but come on, man.
Oh, Vapor.
Hold
hello.
on. Before they notice him, I'm actually going to use prestidigitation to create like a bright sparkle of lights to grab their attention.
So there's a firework fountain in Canis. Oh, whoa! Ah, Aygir. Oh, Vapor. You've brought us lunch. I'm famished.
Yes,
Thank you.
your butler said you two haven't even eaten. And before you guys get back sucked into work...
It's just now lunchtime, is it not?
No, according to him, it's gone cold.
Well, that would be his fault for making it.
This is always served cold. Is that not the way?
No, food is supposed to be served warm unless it's... Some foods are meant to be served cold, others aren't. Aygir, perhaps you might, and Spindle, you might be able to help me translate this word. I was just talking with the furball earlier. Espiza is what they called it.
It's Swedish.
I've never heard of it before, but there are many strange and rare fungus that grows in the tangle.
So
They say it's in a cave. It's green, has 3 parts, and has a spiral on it, like a snail shell.
This is a word Aygir might have heard before, right?
Possibly so. Yeah, possibly so.
All right.
Yes, are you sure it's a fungus you are speaking of, and not some kind of critter?
I'm unsure.
Like an animal.
I'm unsure. It's in a cave. Further in the tangle. I was figuring
Animals live in caves, particularly in the tangle.
I was figuring if you had nothing better to do in the next day, we can go search this cave.
Aygir, in the middle of stuff with a hammer in his hand, still halfway raised, looking at you with, possibly some sort of a safety mask canted a little bit up. Well, better things to do. Yes, I don't know what that would be. I'm totally not doing anything right now, working on anything.
What could be better than what we are currently doing?
Because it might be able to help us, or at least help me, get rid of this curse of fire that seems to affect me, and get me closer to figuring out how to extract the healing properties of that potion you gave me.
Have you ever tried just drinking more water? Also, a nature...
It would be helpful, being that you are delving into a place that is seething with lava and other elemental fire effects.
Is there
You remember the last time we went down there? I was drenched with sweat, constantly casting magic just to keep myself cool. And I drained my water and our party's water just drinking to keep myself cool.
Not to mention what might happen if you stumble into one of those lava flows.
I don't even want to think about that.
He'd be burned to cinders in an instant.
Is there a chance, though, that I would know Espirish or Espires? What that actually directly means?
There's a chance you might know. I heard a dice rolling. Were you making a nature check?
Yes, that's a 17 plus some various things. It's a 21.
All right. You got 20 was the DC. So, Espires, which is a Sylvan word that's just literally the name, as in like a proper name. In the Elven tongue, they call it something completely different. And it actually does have an animal name, though it is fungus. In the Elvish tongue, they call it frog's trident.
Espires, vapor. It is frog's trident. Have you heard of that? It's a little fungus. It's about yay big.
Now, would Vapor have heard
3 curving points.
Would a Vapor have heard of frog trident?
Why don't you do like another roll? It's kind of like a re-roll, since the context, the situation has changed enough to where you could re-roll it.
No, that was even worse.
Okay, so it's not something that you're personally familiar with. I would imagine even Aygir has very like tenuous knowledge of it. So you're like, It's a rare fungal.
It might be one of
herb.
those
It's
rare ones that his
supposed to
mom
have
would never
different.
let him work with.
Yeah. It's
yeah,
not something that
he has.
exists in the steppes region. It's something that exists like in mushroom forest environments.
It might have been one of those ones that my mother would not let me touch when I was beginning my lessons.
Speaking of things you should not touch, you might not want to put your hand there. That's hot.
Could have.
Oh yes, we did
sooner.
leave that on, didn't we? Are you not eating, Aygir? Here, this is yours.
Yes, of course. Right.
Fuel the body and the mind shall persist.
So you say. So you say. Yes.
So the Fearbogs were going. Their elder was willing to offer a hunter or a guide to take me there. I was hoping you might be willing to join me. You're also missed within the camp of the Fearbogs.
Good to know.
Pretty much was told you need to go visit them more often.
Good to know somebody thinks of me that way.
Well,
as you
they
can
like
see,
their
I'm.
friends, and thanks to you, I'm considered a friend.
Hey, well, what can I say?
Speaking of which, he pulls out one of the shell necklaces and gives it to Aygir.
Oh, I see they go to you too. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see,
Two of them.
I'm.
I still have the second one.
Sure. I am in need of some time here to finish what we are working on, but I should have time to pop over to the Tangles and at least see if Candela has solved his own little problem. He confided in me last time I spoke to him. He has troubles, aging related.
Yes, he complained about how he was getting old and wanted. I think he wants me to figure out how to get the healing properties working in their own potion. Because he wants to be young again.
Well, I can't imagine it's very fun to go through what he's going through. It's difficult for him to,
Oh yes, I can relate. It's been ages since I've been able to, please a woman.
Oh,
in my younger days, though, I was a admired knight, and I had a lady of my own. Our knights of wait, what? Never mind. Let's get back to work.
Gondis, I do have a question for you. You wouldn't perhaps have a lab that I might be able to borrow to do a few experiments with in alchemy?
You want to borrow a what?
I want to do a few tests of my blood. My current setup doesn't let me do much.
You want to utilize the facilities here?
Yes.
But of course. You might want to speak with Atonement, and he'll tidy it up a bit. But you should be able to find everything that you need there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Adam, do you have a description, even if it's just a real short one, of the work that you're doing on your armor? Any detail you can tell us?
Right. There have been a lot of sources around, whether that's the ingots of various metal from fire giant sources we found down in the Arcane Sanctum, whether that's clockwork creatures that have their parts all scattered about the Broken Tower, etc., which I'm using to craft additional plating to basically turn it into what is statistically an equivalent, instead of scale, which he had, into equivalent to half plate. And then also, I believe there was some talk of some sort of an elemental resistance. That was something that was volunteered by Canis that Aygir wasn't thinking about at first, but that I imagine they're being sort of woven in some way magically, because the whole thing is like inlaid with patterns of various scenes, mostly of things he's done. It's kind of like almost like somebody with full sleeve tattoos that tell a specific story of like this event and that event, and then this other event, and the thing that's like related to my family name and my mom's maiden name over here, and all that kind of stuff is all inlaid in. If his armor is steel, it's probably like copper or bronze wiring, so it has a nice color contrast, and then maybe even like enameled over just to make it pop.
Mm-hmm.
And then, pretty much doing something visually like that, making it into heavier, still medium, but heavier armor that's nicely articulated and able to move around in still, but also in some way resistant to something elemental. I'm not sure he elaborated. He might have said fire resistance, or he might have said, because I know the plan was to have it be.
That was the idea, being that you've been delving into a lava dungeon.
Right. Or in general, getting tangled up with the machinations of things run by fire giants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have a word that would describe the general aesthetic? Like the elven ones would have a lot of curves and, inspired by nature, like pretty curls and swirls and.
Right.
But that probably isn't Aygir's look.
This is. I'm kind of imagining this to look a
hard,
little bit like
harsh angles.
More like knot work, and as far as the actual contours of the armor, kind of rounded but a little bit angular. I'm kind of thinking of like real world, either Mongolian or like medieval Russian kind of armor. With they had a lot of helmets that had slight points, and face masks being a big thing, often stylized with actually sculpted in eyes and a nose, and usually a kind of a pointed mustache looking thing.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely picture that.
The things that the Kumans are wearing in Kingdom Come Deliverance, for lack of a better example.
Nice.
Sort of,
well, I can picture that quite well now, so I'm glad that you gave us that. So, what is your primary technique that you're applying? Like, is it using tools? Is it using some kind of like arcane manipulation? What kind of spindle is more of a tool? Hands-on?
Well, Aygir is definitely more of the tool type. Although, I mean, arcane manipulation is sort of going on throughout the whole thing. But in particular, Aygir is definitely actually hammering away and differentially heat treating stuff so that it remains the optimal flexibility, and actually shaping plates. And he's the one who's probably telling Canis to, why would that go there? I'm not an elf. I'm a hobgoblin. We're shaped differently. That would fit you, yes, but look at your wrist. It's like the width of my thumb. What is this?
Why don't you give us a check? And this is going to be representative of the work that you're accomplishing over, I don't know, probably a few days that you've been working on this now. Probably been working on it for 2 or 3 days before we get back to the whole party reconvening with core gain.
All right. Well,
but you can decide the check. If you want it to be like an intelligence, Tinker's Tools, intelligence Arcana.
I think Smith's Tools would make the most sense. But yeah, intelligence
Smith's
tools.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Give that a roll and let's see what happens.
Alrighty. That's okay. That was almost really bad, but it ended up decent. That is going to be an 18. It was very close to landing on a 4.
Cool.
But it landed on an 11 instead.
All right. So it's going well, quite well. And here's Canis's roll. All right. Canis has 23.
Wow.
So by the time that
how did you do that? I didn't know you could. I didn't know that was possible. Is that some?
It looks like I'm working very slowly, but what it is it's all in the preparation. You see, if you just have everything set up in the right way, you can execute rather effective maneuvers with very few movements.
Well, they do say measure twice, cut once. I was wondering why I saw you measuring so many times. Guess it paid
Yes.
off, huh? Look at that. Damn, that's a thing of beauty.
It is beautiful. This is a bit too pointy at the shoulders and the top of the head, and I don't know about the mustache, but it suits you, Aygir. It suits you well.
It looks like mine, doesn't it?
Try it on. Come on, let's see.
Yes. This strap goes here, and that one there, and Well, he says from inside the helmet. You know, it never used to fit this well. This is a lot better. It's more comfortable. I hadn't made it that way before, but
yes, once you get used to wearing a suit of well-fitting, personalized armor, it becomes like a second skin to you.
well, I thought it was already like that, but this is an improvement to say the least. I knew that you
hold your hand over the flame. It should be resistant.
He holds a gauntleted hand over the flame.
You put your hand over the flame, and for a moment you think, this is awesome. I don't feel anything. And then you have these like fantasies run through your head, like I am impervious to fire, and you're like busting through walls of fire unscathed. Then it starts to heat up. You're like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm good on that. But it does resist it. So you've got like a half plate of fire resistance in your own style, in your own persuasion of your special armor. Well, I must say, I'm proud, and not just of myself, of you too. It is a fine work that you've done here, Aygir.
I told you I was good, did I not?
You need to keep this one safe when you go down there exploring in old fire giant sanctums.
Hey, at least they're no more bad.
I have nightmares that sometimes they come back. I hope that it's just nothing more than my own paranoia.
One could hope, but they certainly have not made a return appearance yet. Though
I do hope
that place is so much bigger than even you led us to believe. It's expensive. There are lifts to other levels. There's an entire wing of the what you call the training course for dwarves that we have not been down. It is massive.
I remember in many battles we fought dwarven champions. They were a force to be reckoned with. They fought alongside some of the giants. I don't know if they were considered to be a sort of a head servant master amongst slaves, or how exactly they ranked and regulated them, but I can say that if they survived whatever gauntlet the giants put them through, they must have been made of strong stuff. And that is no way to train a man. No, it's like to kill. Who knows? Half, 3/4, 9/10, maybe 1 in 100 would survive for all I know.
They must have been smart too. They could suss out the meaning of what? A magician from seeing a man tending to a goose laying a golden egg or something like that. It was bizarre. I think and I fear that we may learn a great deal down there, some good and some bad. Our comrades went off to do some business, which I think would tell us a thing or two about, well, one of our dealings with the vestiges of giant rule. I think we may learn another piece of the puzzle down there somewhere. It might just be a matter of traveling to a new level and seeing what we can
Yes.
find down there.
Find the right place. A lot can be learned. And that is my hope as well, my highest hope. Who's to say what the giants did in those deep and dark places with their servitors carrying out essentially endless supplies of labor.
We are still dealing with it now. The Night Stalker is not entirely unrelated.
Stalkers. One more straw to catch flame.
Well, Vapor, you said we should. You would like accompaniment to this cave in the tangle?
Yes, I figure. Oh, the Elder, the Furbog encampment, pointed me to the frog trident,
Oh, frogs.
and he believed that might be able to help me either deal with my problem with fire.
Well, it would seem only fair. I've just made my armor resistant to it, so.
Forgive me. I must have nodded off. You were saying about the perils of the fire giants gauntlet. If you'll excuse me, I must rest now.
Of course, you've more than earned it. You've done work that's.
It's been a pleasure.
It leaves even me a bit sore in the morning, I'm sure.
Well, I didn't make an omelet this morning for nothing. Yes, well. Goodbye.
I'll be back with more Grove Sheen in a few days, or yes, in a day or
Kind
two.
of Spindle, he shuffles off mumbling stuff that really makes no sense at all.
I don't know.
But yes,
I don't know.
congratulations, you have
Another Star
fantastic new armor. Or
Another Star Catch
fantastic
Flame
new
that could be-
enhancement to your armor.
Yeah.
I suggest that we
Regroup.
go to the party together, speaking with Corgain Makel.
Right.
Yeah.
That works.
I mean, we could very easily have many more scenes by ourselves and off
Right.
doing things,
Right.
but
Yeah,
it'll be more fun for everyone.
can we just have like can I just have my own thing for like an hour here real fast? That's where I got a lot of things over here I need to do by
Let's-
myself.
Let's just do
no, by
Adriel's-
myself. I don't
Yeah,
need you in
let's
this
just do
alone.
Adriel's internal monologue for the next 1 hour. Here we go.
Exactly. Yeah, let me.
I'm
I
gonna
actually,
kill this-
I
this
brought,
thing.
I
Kill
brought
that
some
thing.
I'm gonna
notes.
kill the other thing.
I
Oh my
brought
God.
some notes on my
Please
phone
don't.
for this.
Oh, I'm
I
Adriel. I'm gonna
prepared.
kill another thing. Oh, that needs to get stabbed. That needs to get stabbed.
Hold on,
Ooh,
let me grab
ooh,
out my
ooh,
chest of
stab.
notes. I have an
Stab.
actual chest of all my notes here. There's a lot that Vapor needs to go through.
So this is no longer MIRRORMOURN, it's the Adriel monologues.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like this is what the audience wants. Like this is what they need.
Well,
So, here's my thought. Walykos and Adriel's alone time, I think, does have some good insights into their characters, but we're also looking at practical limitations of time.
Oh, I'm joking. Yeah,
So-
we can group.
can,
I
up.
know, I
can
know.
I do
So,
can I do quick
yeah.
summary?
Yeah, can we just get like a quick summary, and then maybe next session we can explore more.
Yeah, like
into it.
2-sentence or whatever. I'm gonna keep it
Like
as
over the
brief as I
past 2
can.
days, I thought something or I felt something.
Walykos, if I may, I don't want to step in.
Yeah, go for
All right.
it.
Walykos would go out that night, walk the city in the rain, collect his thoughts, probably go hang out at a bar and kind of reflect on like what he needs to do and so on. The next day, I was hoping I didn't want to interrupt Vapor and Aygir scene, but at the same time I was like, I could see Walykos going to Canis and having a "I'm sorry" moment. Actually apologizing because
You stole something.
I stole some red sand in a half broken
Yeah.
and I was going to point out that was the one moment in this campaign where Walykos kind of had a mean kind of moment.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He was really just upset during that scene. And he took the map back. Remember, he took it from Canis and said, "No, we don't trust you with this. Like, this is ours. You're talking
about the magical painting.
The magical painting. Yes, I apologize. Not a map.
And Adriel, of course, just like, yep, Walykos, that's right. Yeah, don't
trust it. Like, yes, let your hate flow through you. But yeah, that was a very big moment.
We can get to these things next time. I
absolutely.
Think would be good.
So my one sense is he would probably go and have a scene where he apologizes to Canis, and whatever happened there, whether it's just him and Canis or Aygir and Vapor, we'll deal with that. And then he would also tell Aygir and Vapor, "Hey, we're meeting up at the Crumble."
Excellent. Does Adriel have a quick summary of his personal reflections?
Yeah, I'll do a quick thing as well. I probably would have also kind of walked in the rain as well. You kind of stole that, but yeah, I would have also probably
stole it from.
Well, I mean, it was drizzling, and if you're outside walking, it's what's happening.
Specifically though, and again, I don't know if this is something that's available in Barnacle, but like if there was some sort of like underground area where like some of the criminals went, he probably would have went there and just sort of like kind of slummed around a bit and just like been with that kind of a crowd, like just kind of like that's kind of how Adriel like gets his I guess his calm and like gets him thinking, just like he likes being around these kinds of people, like that's his jam. So that's kind of what he would be doing.
You went to a district on the southern end of Barnacle called Shackle Downs. A squalid slum area. It's on the southern end, just beyond the port.
Yep. Yeah, and I would have just interacted with those kind of like criminal kind of people, just like, maybe gotten in maybe a fight or something, drank some, things like that. Just kind of getting everything that happened like off of my mind in a way, like kind of just like almost avoiding it, if that makes sense.
So Adriel shows up to the Crumble with like a black eye and a fat lip. And
yeah, you see some patches on like my eyebrow where like it's cut and stuff. Yeah,
you might have like
Vapor's gonna raise an eyebrow at this and goes, "Huh? Who made you pretty?"
Oh, you should see the other guy. He lost a finger.
So this is the kind of thing you just do for fun. You get yourself beaten up.
Oh no, I know it looks bad. I was fighting a lot of people at the same time. Yeah, no, I just had to clear my head. Can you keep it down just a bit, Aygir? You're always
on the clouds.
So loud.
We have a term for that. We call it having your meat tenderized, and it looks like you would be very, very fine for grilling at the moment based on your overall appearance. Sorry. You wanted me to be quiet?
Yes, I have a bit of headache. Here in Barnacle, grinding my meat means something else, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, please keep me out of that. That does not sound very pleasant.
And Aygir is wearing the fantastic new armor that he has described, and that's, I'm sure, going to serve you well. Walykos, you all see, is different.
Oh, could I clarify something also, real quick, since we're meeting up? So when we meet up, Adriel is like, intentionally not looking at Walykos. Like he's almost kind of like avoiding Walykos a bit. Like he's kind of just like after that thing with Aygir, he just kind of like walks away from the group and just kind of like sulks in his own like little area essentially. Like he's essentially pouting. Like that's kind of what's happening.
Slowly like creeping up on Adriel, like behind him. Like you see me rise up over your shoulder, as you're just like sulking there.
Yeah.
So Vapor's seen Walykos because I'm not sure if he met him.
We don't know if that scene happened. Assume that you saw me because I would have had to told you about the crumble.
Damn, that goes with what I wanted to do because I was going to have, who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
because that is so what Vapor would do.
Okay, let's say I left you guys a note. If that makes your scene more interesting to you.
Let's do this.
I would like that because
you're in the crumble. There are like chunky blocks of rubble, like these huge stones from like a giant's castle.
What's the weather?
Some sections of it have been some sections have been cleared away. Other sections haven't. There's piles and stacks of rubble. There's some like half standing walls. There's just it's a labyrinth of giant rubble. Yeah.
And what's the weather?
The weather.
Yeah.
The weather's fine. The rain clouds have passed. It's like somewhat humid, but not hot. It's like a cool to maybe it's warming up a little bit, humid, and you hear some wild pebble pecks chirping nearby in a tangle of like little young saplings and weeds there in the ruins.
There is a rain cloud over Adriel's head, though.
Yeah. Adriel's brooding in his personal rain cloud, and then Walykos arrives, and if you want, you can give another quick little description as we're seeing like in broad daylight.
This new person walking towards him, not knowing who he is, and goes, first thing out of his mouth is, "Who the fuck are you?"
Why, Vapor, don't you recognize your dear friend Walykos? And what you see is an elven man, young man, maybe in his 20s, mid-20s, and he's got all the elven features of a traditional elf, but there's something just a little bit off about him. One might describe it as a bit of a fey look, to him, like a little bit of a wild, animalistic look. The eyes might be a little too, shaped like an animal or something along those lines.
What the difference 2 days makes. Oh, yes, I see it now, Walykos. Yes, you did something different with your hair.
I see you got my letter. Yes.
Of course.
Well, there's much that we have to... Yes, there's much we have to discuss, and as you can see, changes have happened most recently for me, and
you can say
Adriel was with me. He knows what happened, so I won't,
Vapor's going to look over at Adriel and go, Adriel, is this really Walykos, or is this some fucker that you've hired?
Yeah, I killed Walykos, brought someone else here and be like, hey, this is the new Walykos. Adriel would just want to say, no, that's Walykos. See, this is how he used to look before.
Yep.
I got to say, I sort of missed the horns.
Well, perhaps I'll grow them out after some time. One can never really know. But, there's...
Vapor heard Aygir's comment about the horns will prestidigitation like a headband that has 2 little horns on it, and goes, you think he looks good with these on?
It's not with those, of course.
Look like a LARPer with the little horn headband.
Like that.
All right, hold on. And cast his prestidigitation again, making the horns actually like what Walykos used to have. These?
It's like, I don't want my fake horns.
Here,
not bad,
put these on. Let's see if they work.
I feel like, I pull them off a little bit better than you, Vapor, but that's nothing against you. It's just, my fine chiseled looks with the horns.
You see Vapor's one eye. She had to comment about the one chiseled looks.
You hear a little chuckle, and approaching is someone that you all had seen before. Just after that, like that big congregation public debate that had gone on, there was this older elven man with some like real poor clothing, carrying a little pack and like with a walking stick, who looked like like a poor street vendor or something, or maybe even like a beggar. And he approaches, has this like long ratty hair, and hello again, you all. We meet at long last. It's been a while. Walykos has told me that your expedition to Blackrock Isle was a success. You met with victory and you vanquished the thralls of Baal.
We are
There
here,
were-
are we not?
Yeah, there's definitely details we can fill you in on if you care, but there's things that transpired on the island.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a certain thing at all. Near deaths happened multiple times.
I knew
Vapor's gonna
that
look at
it would be.
Walykos, like thinking of all the times he fell.
I knew that it would be a terrible risk. It was not easy for me to set this task to you, but
It
I
was
saw it
not.
as the least troublesome option at the time.
Well, I hope that this will prove to be Baal Vonder's first undoing.
We can only hope, and at this point, our hopes are tenuous at best. But those enemies were defeated. Yes, then they did not produce any of the relics from Satyr Vigil.
None
Right.
of the major relics. They found a couple magical items which we claimed for ourselves.
Yes, they were intercepted, as it were, in
Minor magics, not artifacts of
Yes,
old.
yes. Did you explore into the old citadel yourself?
We did not
No.
ourselves enter, no.
No.
It's probably for the better.
Perhaps another time when we're feeling more cavalier with our lives. But there's much more to do here in Barnacle. Speaking of which, we should tell you that we had
Much is transpiring here.
some talks when we were aboard the flotilla. And Aygir and Vapor and Adriel, you can tell me if I am speaking out of turn here for any of us. But we decided to formalize our partnership, as it were, to form a group called the Vanguard, I believe, is
Well,
what our first name
We
is.
bandied that about calling ourselves by a name.
Vanguard.
Yeah.
Vanguard.
It's not a bad one, though.
It's a
There's
fine
more.
name.
Yeah. There's more to it, I'm sure, that will be determined, but I would say we need to protect Barnacle, and we need to strike at Baal Vondor and his agents. There's no one else in the city aside from you, Corgain, and I don't know if you have other allies who are working in the shadows, but I don't count on anything I can't see or isn't here with us and making a difference in this, stopping Baal Vondor.
Well, he does have agents here. Of that, I am sure. Who exactly they are, I have not been able to narrow it down yet. The Night Stalker we are certain of. There is no doubt in my mind that he is an agent of Baal Vondor, meant to pit one half of the city against the other to cause rift in the populace of Barnacle so that the city will be weakened when Baal Vondor himself, his forces, his allies, whoever it might be, strikes.
Taking down the Night Stalker would be a significant blow to his plans. Even if they're already in motion, the houses could rally behind the fact that this Night Stalker has been basically dealt with, and they wouldn't need to go to such extreme measures as turning the city into a martial state, controlling
Right.
it.
Right. We must assume that Baal Vondor's plans are in motion and have been for some time.
Exactly.
We would be foolish to not make that assumption. How far along they are, have we caused him great setbacks? I don't know. I hope so. At the very least, your triumph at Blackrock Isle must have stymied some intent of his. It's at least a blow against him.
Well, we deprived him of 5 agents, if nothing else.
Yes. You are not alone in wanting the Night Stalker to meet a swift defeat. There is a champion of the people. I don't know if I can call him a champion, but there is
the jumping spider.
The jumping spider, yes, Arachno.
One.
Arachno apparently is the name that he has given himself.
Some sort of boy spider.
Is this some spider? Is Spider-Man something of this nature?
It's a man.
I mean,
spider.
he's so small. I would call him more of a boy spider. Yeah.
Well, he is spider-like. To hear the stories.
We'll need some paintings of him right away.
Yes.
Is that I've heard of this man?
He saved a woman's life. He saved a woman's life. Yes, Risa. What was she is a commoner, but Drakestone loyal. Blimbooth, Risa Blimbooth. He had descended to slay her, and Arachno was able to foil him. He has some manner of special equipment. He shot the Night Stalker. He hit him with a sort of poisoned bolt. He had a contraption. I don't know if it was a crossbow or some other sort of device that was concealed within body armor. I've heard some different stories. The bolt
sounds familiar.
You're speaking of the assassin.
You're
speaking of the assassination. I'm sorry?
The jumping spider. He sounds familiar. He's a halfling?
He might be. All who have seen him said that he is small. He could be a halfling. He could be a gnome. He could be just a particularly small person.
Could be a goblin.
I suppose anything is possible. If I was to make a wager on it, I would wager gnome. I don't know why a halfling would be here helping the folk of Barnacle. Not that halflings particularly wish ill of Barnacle, but they are not known.
Adriel, wasn't there a halfling or a gnome who tried to rob us a couple weeks back? And he jumped out the window, and we saw him jump and fall and catch himself or disappear.
Yes, there was one. I remember killing one of them. And then another one we put away in prison, and the other one got away.
Yeah, I think it couldn't be. Is he a thief? Is this Arachno? Does he steal from people or sneak into?
Is he very quick on his feet? Likes to jump around on walls.
Well, yes, he has some sort of special equipment that allows him to climb upon surfaces like a spider. He is fast. He jumps. He shot the Night Stalker with this sort of poison bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah. To hear it told, it was almost the end of the Night Stalker, but he escaped, half crippled with pain or disorientation. I don't think this is the same person. Well, clearly it's not the same person that threw the poison dart into Duke Ormond's breast. That man was cut down, an instant later.
Yeah, or at least who they made it appear.
The following day, Arachno was seen again. He was seen at sunset, climbing and jumping from rooftops and towers. He threw down a bouquet of flowers, specific flowers, Zarmad's kisses. They are flowers, white petals surrounding the yellow centers. The flowers of hope. It was a symbol of hope.
Sounds like he might make a good addition to the Vanguard.
Tied to the flowers was a small ribbon upon which was written, "Justice shall prevail."
So tell us, Corgain, you know how to contact this Arachno.
Yes,
I have searched for him. I have searched for him, but I have not found him. Not yet. I will continue to do so. There are many people and many threads that I am following. Some unfortunately lead to dead ends, and I've ended up wasting time. But other times, I come upon information that could be valuable, and I would like to speak with you about some of these
Certainly.
Threads, if we can call them that, leads, we might say.
Leads, exactly. Yeah.
Some happenings throughout the recent times, within the last several weeks.
I mean, it's either that or we stake out the rooftops and find Arachno one night and make him an offer to join our vanguard.
I don't know if he would join or not. It might so. It would be an incredible addition if the stories are to be believed.
I mean, considering he nearly killed
my own eyes.
Yeah, nearly killed the Night Stalker. I think we can trust that he's not working for Baal Vondor.
At the minimum, Walykos, I think we should seek him out and find him. Perhaps ask him about what he is doing. I'm sure, has some information, if nothing else.
Absolutely, but there's two other things that we should first consider. One, there's a bunch more of this complex beneath the crumble. Now we have 2 keys, I believe, to the lifts.
Yeah, we do.
So we could explore that more in detail, as well as there was the trial chamber that we had just passed through, and then there was a what was it? Fire breath?
Yeah, the trap.
Yeah, the trap that breathed the fire.
Part of what I was hoping to overcome with the whole resistant armor.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is some variety of gauntlet or obstacle course down there that they put these thraits, these like dwarven slaves through, and probably a lot of them would die, but some made it through, and it said that you would reach glory if you made it through.
Yes, I think
so.
Yeah.
So Corgain has some happenings he would like to tell you about, and
Corgain's happenings was my third thing. The second. Yeah.
There are a few things that I can tell you that I have been able to gather sufficient information on. I've spoken with people, some of which have firsthand knowledge. Some things I have borne witness to myself. Some weeks passed. A fire galleon came in from Drizmteeg. This was no event of particular note. They come and go for trade on regular bases. Some smaller vessel broke off from this galleon, however. A fisherman claimed he saw a small boat separate from the galleon not long after entering within the waters of Haven Isle, just out of sight of Holmes Gate. Holmes Gate is like that big gate that is where you pass from the Sea of Lava into the coastal waters of Haven Isle that are surrounded by the Obsidian Barrier. The fisherman said that this smaller vessel was bearing southbound. It is unusual. I don't know if it means anything, but to hear it told, it seemed that this was something. To me, it seems like smugglers coming in under one pretense and then breaking off for a hidden secondary purpose.
What was it like, this vessel? Did anybody know what it looked like or its details of its crew?
He didn't have specifics or details of the crew. The boat itself, small vessel, a small launch or a dinghy, rowed, maybe one small mast for light sailing. Couldn't have been a large. I wouldn't even call it a crew. It probably would have just had a few people.
Okay, so this was not. It's nothing to do with the halflings who shipwrecked with at least one relic from Drizmteeg. This is something that actually directly came off of that ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A coin. This is another thing. A coin clerk at Havensport recently noticed discrepancies in the taxes received on imports these past 2 seasons versus the taxes that were reported. He brought it up and was told to keep quiet, threatened with losing his position and more. So someone is bringing something into the port, and it's not getting recorded, and its taxation upon it was not officially recorded.
I'm sure we know who it was who was told to be silenced, right? We know the individual.
Yeah, I spoke with him myself. His name is Wallace Winscombe.
Wallace. Does he know who told him to be silent? Was it a particular supervisor or, official?
I couldn't get it out of him. He
Wouldn't
apparently worries for himself, for his family.
Understandable, but if we could gain that knowledge, we might know someone who is working at odds, if not for Baal Vondor, at least taking bribes, and might know someone who is working for Baal Vondor. The connection. We follow the lead, as it were.
I think it would be worth doing so. It could be just standard
smuggling.
Standard corrupt. It could be smuggling. It could be just a standard corrupt official who's pocketing a small percentage of the taxes for himself, or taking this bribe to look the other way while goods are brought in.
Sounds suspicious timing, though. Coincidences
quite suspicious.
are
There
often
are
not.
There are 3 port inspectors, so it would have had to have been one of them who was aiding in this smuggling.
At
or
least one. At least. We can't be
it could.
certain.
Yeah, it could be both. It could be 2. It could be all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I have a list of the names of the port inspectors. 3 Merocrat officials: Mark Zivi, Brenda Kakauchin, and Mortal Greylove.
See, now this could also just be the Merocrats bringing in weapons or whatever they desire to, basically do something that bolsters their political ambitions.
We know about Oxivi, right?
Yeah, Adriel and Walykos had that encounter,
Run
in with Mark and Oxivi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A third thing that is worth noting.
Yep.
A third thing that is worth noting. A number of days ago, a guardsman at the port gate killed a young Firbolg. Rumor is that the guardsman had been demanding outrageously high entrance tolls from the Firbolgs, and there was a dispute. A fight broke out, and he apparently, I'm getting secondhand information here, but apparently he beat the Firbolg to death after they had a dispute.
I think we heard that story, actually. That sounds like something that we heard.
We did. This was
very well then. The rumors
ago,
the rumors reached you as well. I don't know if we should call it a rumor, but the news of the incident.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't, Adrian. But let's just say if there were someone for whom, if the Night Stalker were to claim them as a victim, I would not be upset.
Well, I don't know if I should give you his name then. I have recently learned that there is more to your party's involvements than I was aware of. He gives a glance to brooding Adriel.
Corgain trusts that our methods will be as best we can under the circumstances, but these circumstances sometimes are not ideal. Sometimes they're impossible circumstances, and we can't have the luxury of making any easy choice. We may have to make between 2 terrible choices we may have to make the lesser terrible choice.
Sometimes you find yourself on Blackrock Isle, and you have a choice to wander through infested lands or traverse a field full of hot geysers that would scald you with their waters. I'm sure you would understand something like this if you were in a position to make us do it.
Colgain,
point
if you give us his name, we'll get the information out of him.
For once, I'd like the way this one thinks.
We are at war. I have no illusions otherwise. This is no stroll through a garden. So I don't expect that you all are going to be, giving mere slaps on the wrist to those who wish the worst for our civilization. But if I give you the name of this guard, I need your word on your honor that you are not going to murder him in cold blood. Speak to him if you will. Menace him, browbeat him if you will. Use
the fear.
Use enchantments to charm and beguile information out of him if you want. But this is not a. I'm not going to let
not
one
negotiable.
Murder. I'm not going to let one murder beget another murder. His family, his children don't deserve that.
The point is well heard, Corgain.
Corgain, yes, it seems to me that you are perfectly all right with us torturing this young god as long as we don't kill him, right?
Adriel, there's no need to go into details. We are going to choose an option which accomplishes our goals in the best way.
We'll
discuss those options.
I will caution you, Adriel, as I know how impassioned you become and self-righteous you become. We have only heard rumors and secondhand trickling down of this event. As much as you probably want to wreak vengeance, go with prudence. Learn first before you act.
For all we know, this man was mentally compelled, or maybe his, something happened. Maybe the Firbolg is not as innocent as it seems. I am not a god that knows everything of this whole.
The Firbolg.
Nor am I Walykos, but Corgain, I find it very. Corgain, I find it a bit of a waste of time to try and dilly-dally over the word of torture, which is what you are letting us do to this man, if it comes to that.
If I may a moment.
I know that you think that you're so
He's
righteous.
not letting us do anything.
The less said about any
Don't torture him, don't dismember him, none of these things.
Right.
If you have to rough him up, so be it.
The less explicitly said, the better. Remember this, Adriel. And you have my word, Corgain, that Aygir, I will not murder this man in cold blood. This I vow. And neither will the one to my left right now murder this man in cold blood. And the less said beyond that, the better. Right, Adriel? He sort of nudges.
I'll sort of look to Aygir, and I'll look back to Corgain, and I'll say, I won't murder this man in cold blood, but Corgain, I do think that you're a weak man.
You should have just stopped at I won't murder this man in cold blood, Adriel. There's no need to antagonize our allies. We are on the same side here. Corgain.
Yes, but he is asking us to do his dirty work, and then he's trying to regulate how we get it done.
I mean,
this is not my dirty work. I'm asking you nothing. I'm volunteering information to you.
Yeah, he's giving us leads. He's not telling us, go deal with this, or, that's your order. Adriel.
Corgain takes a small piece of parchment. He presses it into Vapor's hand. You're the only one I trust out of this motley crew.
Not even me.
Vapor looks to Gorgain with his one eye, the eyebrow raised very high, going, okay, I don't trust you really much, but since Walykos thinks you're okay, that's fine. What is this?
You look at it, and it says has this name on it: Wayne Cumberbrick. That is the Godsman.
Vapor. So can you type that real quickly so I can?
He did. He put it in the.
It's in a comment there.
Okay.
Colgain, we don't have to like
So as
each other,
soon as
but we
Vapor-
can work together for the same goal. But I still don't like you. I don't like how you act. I don't like how you do
Adriel,
things. It's a waste of time.
You're far too open with your words, Adriel. Remember, shadows, silence can often do far more than one who is openly revealing everything.
A very fancy way to say it, less said the better, but yes, I certainly agree.
Adriel is actually just like gonna kind of like look at everyone, and then he's just gonna like walk away. He's just gonna turn up his back and walk away. Basically, yeah, he's just done. He's just like
That's
he's
fine.
just out.
Yeah, everyone kind of teamed up on it. I get it. But I was trying to actually give good advice. It's like
Gorgain doesn't.
keep your
He doesn't have
opinions
a comeback
close
to
to your chest.
Adriel. He has. It looks like he wants to say something, but he bites his tongue.
Yeah.
Real quickly,
Gorgain-
after Vapor reads the piece of paper, he's going to use his magic to, pretty much get rid of it, just so that way no one else can know, and he's the only one who knows.
And now we must torture Vapor to get the information.
It's like, hey, you know what? He will survive anything. So
Oh, that's
long
right.
Oh,
We
God.
actually could just torture Vapor.
Damn you, Esper! Damn you, Adam, for giving this
We
potion
just- we
to
just
Vapor.
You're
You're
literally,
animals.
just gonna be like the giant. We're just gonna strap
just
you
get
in
something
chains.
eating
You know?
him constantly so that
It'll be
he's
like
regenerating.
it'll be like Prometheus, you know, with the bird. It'd be
Yeah,
great.
the vapor.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
This is what you get for eating the paper. Yeah. Anyways, no, we're just joking.
Well,
Courtney.
are we? Wait, are we?
You're not here, Adriel. Courtney.
These happenings, threads that I've spoken of, they are some of the most solid pieces of information that I've been able to come upon in the intervening past couple of weeks since you've been gone.
Okay. For sure. Honestly, I feel like they could all be more important than we even realize. For sure. The Night Stalker, while I feel like his part has already been played, like just the fact that he's killed so many, even if he's taken down, it's trying to put out some of the fire. The damage is already done. But that being said, it would go a long way if we could find the Night Stalker, if we could find this Arachno. Because he found the Night Stalker once. Maybe it was more than luck.
I agree. I say we should seek him out.
I'm sure if he means to thwart or even to stop the Night Stalker with deadly force, he must certainly be on the prowl regularly.
Indeed. And
A hunter hunting another hunter.
I agree.
Perhaps for more reasons than are apparent.
Well, I mean, the flowers of hope send the message. The Zarmad's kiss say to me that he wants the city to know that someone is fighting the fight. It's not just the noble houses ignoring the problem or the merocrats trying to seek political maneuvering advantage. There's someone actually looking out for the common people. That's my interpretation of his message.
That was mine as well, although I would have used a few fewer words, but yes.
Aygir, the fewer words that are you. Never mind. I'm not going to finish my thought there.
I hate to be the devil's advocate, on this, but what if he's working for Bel Vondor as well?
I mean,
That's,
that would be impressive double agenting on his part.
That's something we're going to have to find out now, isn't it?
And yeah, finding him would be a great step in the direction of finding that out. Not finding him, there's no way that we would know one way or the other. That being said, I also want to continue exploring that dungeon. And I know Aygir will not leave until he finishes exploring the dungeon.
Vapor's going to pull Aygir away. He will pull him away with the promise of someplace new to go explore for a little bit.
Well, right. So yeah, talking out of character, we have our recurring mega-ish dungeon to go back to. We obviously also have this cave containing the fungus with the secret to potentially Vapor having his cake and eating it too. And right in town, we have finding that guy, which is the next logical step in the direct machinations of Bale Vonder storyline.
Yeah. So
I'm wondering,
we have 3 kind of quests we can go
If
for.
it matters, we actually, there is kind of a 4th one too with Duncan and dealing with his stuff and like figuring out what's happening with the House of Mantivale.
Yeah. Though I figured that would be more something of like Adriel and Walykos' kind of thing. It wouldn't have been a.
We're not. What, you think that we don't trust Aygir and Vapor to come in on this, eyes wide shut situation?
Well, they don't know what's going on.
Right.
On
it. I just wanted to mention it because it could be.
We can tell you, but we have to blindfold you and walk you in first. You're like, all these noises? What's the drumming for?
By the way, whatever happened to that guard that we left tied up, Esper?
What guard that we left tied up?
Oh,
are you talking about the guy that we knocked out? Like, he probably just got woken up. Yeah,
he had a really bad headache, and he's going to have to be resting for a few days now.
He probably runs in. It's just like, Duncan, they're in here. Duncan's just like quiet. Like I know, there was a god. I sacrificed myself. I healed someone. Like the demon's gone.
Smithers. I'm sorry. The Demon Sex Club. It has to be called off. We had a good run at it for a while, but it's over, man.
It was fun while it lasted.
I haven't had my turn yet.
Yeah, he didn't get his turn.
I drew. I was so ready. I brought all my my friends. I got my mask specially made.
I'm fine with chatting and stuff for a little bit, but it's kind of the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, let's pause here. We can start next session either with you guys entering back into the
we'll have a decision by next session.
Gauntlet area, or even better, if you guys can reach a consensus soon and let me know. Because if instead you're going to go to the mushroom cave, that will give me prep time.
How about we talk about it off screen and we can give you
that's what I meant.
We'll give you a decision 2 weeks ahead of time that you'll have time to prep.
Yeah, this is some sausage has made stuff that the general audience doesn't need to see.
Yes, it will be in the it's the room where it happens. The room where it happens, as Hamilton would say. The room where it
knows.
All right, cool. We'll pause here. Everybody who was following along live or who catches it later, thank you very much. A big special thank you to Dennis Cropper for chiming in. That was a wonderful surprise.
Yes,
Lykar, wherever you are out there between the folds of time and space, I hope you're enjoying yourself and you're
Who knows? Maybe he'll open a portal off here and show up in Mirrormourn.
Nah.
We don't know.
I don't like.
Esper doesn't want to cross.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like crossing the streams. I could see him like something happening in Ikoria. Yes,
right.
Into other worlds, it's weird to me.
Esper doesn't want an MCU situation of like the Infinity Stones and all these weird villains that why didn't they do anything during this?
Why were the people in Loki not doing anything? Why were the timekeepers just there? They're just this is all fine.
Everywhere is a corner to write yourself into.
Timeline. Anyways, spoilers.
And thank you guys as well for playing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for Ryan.
Thank you for DMing.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Also,
see everybody next session.
if I could
Bye,
just call this
guys.
out. Wait, before we do.
Oh.
This is the 26th session, which we've been playing bi-weekly. I don't think we've been perfect, but 26 times 2, of course, is 52. So this does mark the year mark of MIRRORMOURN.
Oh, does it? Oh my goodness.
Just
Wow.
about. It was
Just
sometime
about,
around
yeah.
this time
Oh
last
my
year.
goodness. We
Yeah.
have been playing for like a year.
So
My
we
goodness.
started MIRRORMOURN right before my birthday time. Got it. Nice.
I didn't
All right,
realize.
Mr.
I didn't
Sullivan.
realize
We
it's
did
been a
miss
year.
some
That's
weeks.
crazy.
We didn't play
Yeah,
consistently.
it's been about a. It's been about a
we've been
year.
playing
Yeah,
for
about
It's
almost
been
a year.
over a year.
We-
I would
Yeah,
say.
over a
Playing
year.
MIRRORMOURN? We've been playing MIRRORMOURN since September 2020.
Wow,
makes sense.
that's crazy.
I
Man,
can't
time
believe
flies. Time flies.
that. I can't freaking believe that. That's
And
incredible.
we've been playing like D&D together just in general for like what, like 3 years, 4
3
years.
Land of Dreams and
Something like
Nightmare
that.
began in March 2018.
Yep.
God, that's. I mean, I was still at university when I started playing with you
I
guys.
remember.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
All right.
Good
Well,
times.
yeah, great session and a real Holtzinator. Thank you very much. It was an awesome session. And thank you for the seed of the idea that's going to hopefully lead into a cool cave dungeon.
I'm
Indeed.
excited for the epic
And
dungeon.
hopefully Vapor eating his cake and having it too. But
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see. All right.
See,
Until
once you
next
get
time.
there.